What's up guys, welcome to part 2 of the Teach Me Magic series, playing Eldrazi ramp featuring Giltspire. If you missed the detailed deck tech in part 1, I'll put the link up here and in the description below. You should definitely go back and watch that first so you have a better understanding of what cards we're playing and why. But before we get into the gameplay, I want to talk to you guys about becoming a YouTube channel member. You'll get access to cool perks like loyalty badges, cool emotes, and early access to videos like this one. Now let's check out that Modern League. Alright, welcome to match 1 of Eldrazi ramp. We're on the play. So, okay, we're starting off with an interesting hand. It's a 1-lander, but we do have Ugin's Lab available into 2 talismans. What are we doing here?
Yep, so this is a hand that I'd keep, and 1-landers are notoriously probably not the best to keep, but between the Talisman of Curiosity and us being on the draw, we have roughly 9-10 hits off the top for Utopia Sprawl, that second soul land that we mentioned earlier in the deck tech. So this is definitely a keepable hand for me, obviously being a little bit reliant on Malevolent Rumble as well. But with Emrakul also being the hand, ideally, if we can hit the right cards, we might be able to cast an Emrakul as early as turn 4, maybe turn 5.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like if we didn't have that guaranteed Rumble, it might look a little more sketchy because we don't have that turn to dig for another land. I like that. So start with Talisman and we'll pass.
Thoughtseize here, going to hurt a bit. We're going to be top decking as they should be taking the Malevolent Rumble here. The good news is we have a lot of good hits here from Karn the Great Creator, Soin Mega Spawn, which we can play on ideally turn 3. If they're playing Thoughtseize, they clearly don't have a Spell Snare. I don't think Murktide is playing a lot of Harbinger's main right now, so we can actually be a little bit aggressive and instead Misty Rainforest for a Commercial District instead to set up our next draw.
I'm down for that. Do we want to do that now and then play the Utopia Sprawl on the Commercial District?
Yep, exactly.
So we can run out the Talisman too anyway. We can just run out.
Yeah, exactly. There's no reason not to run out the Talisman here.
Yeah, so let's set up our hand. We'll get Commercial District, Surveil. We don't need another land right now. We're looking for
going straight to the bin.
The graveyard. Take a damage, ramp a little bit. And I think we just hit this for green.
Yeah, exactly. We have a red source. We have our blue sources. We can hit this for green. We're good to go.
We have 1 card in hand. We're just like literally on top deck, a bomb.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, that was our turn 2 ending at 6. So if we can hit turn 3 into a Soin Micro Spawn, we're in a solid position. We're 1 land away from an Ugin or any of our 7 mana value spells. So overall, not a bad position to be in. They're representing a counterspell here. Unfortunately, finding the Null Drifter, which is both good and bad in its own right, we could arguably wait a turn. Otherwise, we could always just evoke and try and draw a fresh 2 cards.
I kind of want to evoke. I like evoking here because if they have the counterspell, sure, it stops them from surveilling and kind of setting up their turns as well.
Yeah, that would be my thoughts. So I think evoking here would make sense. I think tapping probably not the Commercial District, but the Ugin's Lab instead would be correct. The reason being is if we draw into, let's say, another Utopia Sprawl or another Malevolent Rumble, we'll be able to cast that a bit more easily. So we'll use the Talisman of Curiosity.
I'm just like always so paranoid of tapping this and then it like dying, but it should be fine.
Well, especially with the Kozilek's return in hand, we should be in a good position.
That's true.
The worst case scenario here is that they would bring out a Ogreish Bowmaster, but they did not, so we're in a good spot.
Yeah, so I'll play the Heath, and then I guess just pass. This will probably get like a tapped breeding pool, I'd imagine. We don't have to get the forest, right?
Yeah, like I said, I'm not too worried about a Harbinger main right now. Of course, that could come back and bite me. The good news is that we do have 2 Talisman on board, so this Kozilek's command is actually going to be pretty effective if that does come out to be the case. Not all too worried about that, so I think end step, grab a breeding pool tapped is the right way to go.
Cool. And they surveilled a land to the yard. They have another surveil land in hand. Spell Snare. That would have been useful a while ago.
Exactly.
Cameo.
Cameo is interesting here.
Preordain.
I'm trying to think. They haven't drawn, so Preordain's fine to resolve. They're not going to trigger the Cameo just yet. They've already played their land for turn. Cameo is a card that I definitely view as a priority target, so something to consider removing when we do have access to Kozilek's command.
Yeah, like so the hard part here is I want to remove it in main phase while they're tapped out, but that's just kind of force checking them. What are your thoughts on force checking them here?
It could be beneficial. So right now we have how many types in yard? 3 or 5?
We have a land, creature, sorcery.
Okay, so those 3. I mean, we're going to be able to get the 5 of Kozilek's command. We're in a good spot. I kind of want to guarantee this command gets into yard, because if it does, it's going to bump us up to 5. The lab will be 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. This land will be 12. So I think I want to make sure that this command resolves. So I think we give them an opportunity to counter it, and rather than going to exile instead.
Do we want to upkeep it or end step?
I'm going to say end step because I want them to tap down below 3 mana, because if they do have a force, they'll just end up countering it anyways, and they'll go to exile regardless.
We'll pass.
Because I imagine they'll probably play Frog, Murktide, something. They're going to have to advance the board state at some point, and if they don't want to, I mean, we can kind of just sit on this Kozilek's command for a while and just kind of stare at them as we amass additional spells to use this Kozilek's command as a permission spell instead. So I feel like they have to move the game forward at some point.
All right, they attack. I just always feel bad, like they have the Tamiyo on board, so they can just kind of sit back on drawing clue tokens, which isn't the worst. So I guess now if they try to flip Tamiyo.
Yep, in response, then we can exile Tamiyo as well as ramp.
Yeah, so let's end step here. Are we at, did you still want to end step here?
Yeah, I think end step makes sense here. They don't have access. Now they can of course flip the Tamiyo, but if they choose to flip the Tamiyo and give us a Kozilek's command to both ramp and exile, I guess there's a good question of, do we ramp exile or do we just ramp and
I was thinking just ramp scry draw, just like target us.
Yeah, I mean, if they're going to counter it, they're going to counter it. So I think that probably is correct here.
Yeah, like yeah, if they're gonna counter regardless of, I think, if we like whatever we do. And it's like they have it right here. If they don't have it, then all right, yep.
So we should have 5 card types in Yard now. There's Karn the Great Creator. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Too short on Emrakul, but we do have the mana for Karn. So now we do end up force checking since they don't have access to a counter spell.
Yeah, what are we getting with Karn though?
So Murktide notoriously has a horrible time trying to play around in Snaring Bridge. Their only recourse to it is quite literally Sink and Stupor.
I mean, I'm down. I'm a huge Snaring Bridge fan. Doesn't really matter how we tap. We're just gonna like tap out anyway.
I would recommend tapping the Breeding Pool and Forest and leaving up the red source for the Kozilek's return.
Yeah, that makes sense. But if we're gonna, oh, I guess in case this gets countered, yeah, that's fair.
Correct.
I'm playing like it's not gonna get countered. Okay, so now we can get bridge.
Yep, get bridge. You put it down, and literally their only way to get around it is going to be a Sink and a Stupor. So that gives us all the time in the world.
So the only thing I'm afraid of is them just, they can still attack with Tamiyo and then flipping Tamiyo, and then we have to deal with their Tamiyo's ultimate.
Yeah, I mean, even if they were to
they can't crack clues.
Yep, exactly. They can't crack clues at this point. They need a Sink and a Stupor even if they were to flip the Tamiyo, and they also still need to have threats on board. And by the time they get all of that and for things to align, we're going to be able to play Emrakul. We're going to have more cards in hand to cast. So they're in a pretty weak position.
That's fair. They were casting something for 3 mana. What is this? Oh, ninjutsu. Oh no. Oh no.
Oh.
Dude. Kaido gets me every time. I've literally been killed by this card so many times.
Well, I mean, even better reason why I'm kind of happy that we got Karn out and we got Bridge up, because now they really can't do much about it. Let's see.
Draw the Temple.
So, yeah, I mean, Temple now allows us to, let's see, we have 6 card types in Yard. So 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So we can cast Emrakul. They're tapped down, so we're guaranteed the body on board. And they quite literally cannot do anything about Emrakul. They have no sorcery speed removal. The closest they can do is tap it down with Kaido. So we should be able to cast Emrakul.
So we can return this now and cast it? All right, let's
so we should have 6 types in Yard, 7, 8, 9,
1,
11,
2,
12,
3,
13.
4, 5, 6. Yep. Just make sure. Tap like this. Oh, we overtapped. Okay.
All good. We weren't able to cast the Kozilek's turn regardless. Short of subtlety here. Emrakul will resolve. We'll be able to take control of their turn. We'll be able to take down Kaido, target itself, I think. Or not take down, but yeah, take down target creature, put some stun counters on it.
Psychic Frog, discard their entire hand. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, I think that is probably the way to go here. Trying to think if there's any other options, but yeah, I think Psychic Frog, pitch hand is probably the right way to go, because then they can't attack with the frog. They can't do much of anything else. We'll eventually be able to exile it.
We'll cast Frog, exile their entire graveyard also.
Yeah, a control player without cards in hand is a sad control player.
Yeah, the only thing I'm worried about is the clock at this point.
Yeah, that is going to be a little bit of a concern here, so we'll definitely have to top deck some cards here soon. And then we'll just exile a Yard.
Bouncing everywhere.
Yep. Yeah, always tries to like move things around, and I have no idea why.
Tap itself.
Yeah, I'd say either tap itself or tap the Psychic Frog, put a stun counter on it.
We want to surveil.
I mean, you could
And
surveil and set up their top deck to be a land. That's not a bad idea. So yeah, I think surveilling here wouldn't be a horrible idea.
graveyard. We want to give them the Thoughtseize. Do we care about them discarding?
Yeah, I think giving them the Thoughtseize is fine.
Yeah. Have 6. Let's conserve as much time as possible now.
Yeah, we're now in this bit of a dirtling game now, just kind of waiting to find enough pieces to get onto board to where our opponent just concedes.
Yeah, what are we looking for? Because we have the bridge out though.
I mean, really speaking, Ugin would be solid here, as we'll be able to exile as well as start drawing. Obviously, so in Mega Spawn, just getting rid of lands is never a bad thing. Null Drifter to draw more cards. So always some good options.
Oh, there you go. Kozilek's Command.
Yeah, I think main phase here makes sense. I think exiling the Psychic Frog and Scry Draw would be right here. We do want to get rid of that frog as it can kind of get a bit too big eventually.
You are afraid of that? You don't want to ramp?
I mean, right now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We can cast everything in our deck without issues. So I think we don't really necessarily need that ramp as of this moment in time.
Okay. I just didn't know if we wanted to cast it like right this second, but we can play it safe this way. And
yeah, if only the Kaido didn't have hexproof, I'd say we can exile the Kaido, but it is pretty good. So short of a force here, which they shouldn't have because we gave him a Thoughtseize.
There's Ugin. Okay, this is a lot of stuff. So bottom Utopia Sprawl, bottom Chrysalis. What are we keeping? We're keeping Ugin, Null Drifter. We don't even need Temple, right?
Temple can go to bottom as well. So we'll put Mycospawn on top.
Okay, so we want to draw Mycospawn?
Well, so no, we'll put it in this order. So Mycospawn on top first, then Null Drifter, then Ugin.
So do we want to put Ugin second, just in case they top deck Thoughtseize? We gave him
that's not a bad idea. Yeah.
Let's go, we'll go top, because we gave him a Thoughtseize.
Yeah, that's true. I did forget about that for a second, even though I just mentioned it's one of those moments of like, oh yeah.
So we have access to 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 Eldrazi, but only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And we can actually cast Ugin, get rid of, we can't get rid of Kaito.
Well, when it's our turn, we can, so that shouldn't be an issue, because it only has hexproof on their turn.
I was going to say, we can Kaito into Mycospawn if they play another colorless creature.
So there's a Thoughtseize, so really good call on that one. You may have been right about putting the Eldrazi Temple on top first, but we'll cast Ugin here and exile that Kaito.
Yeah, because all 4 of those were good. So maybe we put the Eldrazi Titan or the Temple first, and they take Kate return. We get to make the they just scoop. That's nice.
Yeah, I mean they really can't do anything here. The only thing that can at this point deal with an Ugin with Bridge on board is a Bowmaster pinging it for 1. So we're just going to eventually cast our entire deck's worth of creatures and then exile our own Bridge with World Breaker.
Yeah, eventually. All right, so we have Dismembers, we have K Return. What do we bring it in here?
Yep, I bring in both K Return as well as Dismember. I think that while K Return doesn't necessarily deal with a Murktide the same way it does deal with an Oculus, it still is pretty solid being able to deal 5 damage across the board. So it can kill a small Murktide, can deal with a Frog, can deal with Harbinger. And then, of course, Dismember, just overall good card into Frog, into Harbinger. So I'd definitely say all 3 of those will come in.
And then what are we taking out? Like Chrysalis is kind of, well, Chrysalis can block Frog or whatever, and it creates those colorless sources under Harbinger.
So the nice part about playing a lot of lands is that we can actually trim down on those first. Ghost Quarter, for example, does absolutely nothing in this matchup, so Ghost Quarter can come out first off and foremost.
Cool.
We do want to keep a Juka Bog, we want to keep Cavern, we want to keep Gemstone Cavern since we're going to be on the draw. As far as things that we can take out, Karn the Great Creator, actually not all too great in this matchup, even if Bridge was an all-star. So we can cut 2 Karn here.
Okay. So a nice 3 for 3 sweep like this.
And that gives us access to 1 Karn. So in the times where we do see it, it can still be impactful, where you can still, grab Bridge or another card like Tormod's Crypt, as well as have access to Liquid Metal Coating, Stone Brain, so on. So we're not completely removing our access to the Karn board.
I like that. And in theory, this should be a very favorable matchup, at least post-board or pre-board. Post-board, they bring in the Consigned Memories. They have, I don't think they run Break the Ice anymore, but they have Harbingers. They bring in at least like 8 cards for us.
Yeah, exactly. Personally, I find the matchup to be pretty favorable, but post-board definitely a little bit more of a struggle. Those hand looking excellent. It has an amazing curve. I mean, we're going to be able to go Forest, Utopia Sprawl. That protects us from Harbinger. We'll go red, so that way we can still cast our Writhing Chrysalis into a Eldrazi Temple for a turn 2 Mycospawn, which sets up for a turn 3 World Breaker. I mean, unless they have a Thoughtseize here, this hand looks great.
Totally agree. I love seeing Forest Utopia Sprawl against Moon decks.
Yeah, that's once again that big thing. Just it's so much more resilient than other big mana decks, because most big mana decks are kind of afraid of moon effects. Where I kind of welcome them here with Eldrazi Ramp, where I think, okay, cool. You now need basics, and a lot of times you just don't have them. And so I'll a lot of times see a Blood Moon in energy or a Harbinger in here. Okay,
They kept
this
it
is
one
interesting.
lander.
They kept the one lander, A. B, they are still representing potentially consigned memory. So this Kozas command might be really good to cast on their end step, as it will act as a permission spell for sowing Mycospawn. Otherwise, yes, it is a 4 mana 3/3 if they counter the trigger, but this Kozas command will be a good permission spell here.
So we don't want to cast, we do want to pass and do this end step then?
Yep, exactly.
Okay. I didn't know if they're going to counter something, would we rather them counter Mycospawn over Kozilek's command though?
Theoretically, I think the nice thing about Kozilek's command being used as a permission spell is that they won't be able to counter it as easily. In fact, we can actually probably cast Kozilek's command here on upkeep, since they only have access to one land. We saw that they did miss their land drop. So let's go to upkeep, and I think we go for ramp and exile Tameo. This way, if it eats a consigned memory, we'll be able to put a body on board with sowing Mycospawn thereafter.
I was thinking the same thing actually, because if they have the consign, they're going to consign it regardless. And
Yep. Yeah, a lot of people, when they tell me they have trouble with this matchup, the one thing I always talk about is using permission spells. And I think that's a lost art in a lot of cases, because here now we can go, okay, cool, they've used their counter. If they haven't drawn a land here, we can either do one of a few things. We can cast our Soin Mycospawn, or we can even try and force check with Karn. I personally prefer Soin Mycospawn here. They're tapped out. They can't force it. We're guaranteed ramp into a World Breaker. And this is what I was talking about earlier during the deck tech. Utopia Sprawl is mana neutral. So actually, let's hold off on that for 1 second. So let's untap.
okay, I was going to say, I'm thinking Mycospawn, like this was a Surveil land, and we just get an Eldrazi Temple here.
We could Surveil land. That is an option, because right now we have access to 1, 2, 3, 4. Mycospawn will get us to 5.
Yeah, we're one
Utopia
off.
Sprawl would get us to 6. I'm trying to think if there's a world where we'd be able to cast an Ugin, but not right now. So yeah, I mean, I think it would be reasonable to set up for Surveillance. So I think just a regular Mycospawn here is solid.
Yeah, with them being on one land, it's just like...
Would have been great to kick that, but they did have the consign.
Yeah, exactly. Eldrazi Temple. And we'll have the World Breaker. I mean, they're going to most likely counter the land trigger, I'd imagine. But then they get stuck.
I'd imagine so, yeah.
They get stuck with this. I mean, they just might be stuck on one land here. They're just going to scoop if they don't draw land here. They did draw it.
Yep, and then on end step, we'll just want to crack the Windswept Teeth for a commercial district.
Yeah. Oh, I guess we could have... Yeah, I guess what you were saying too, using Utopia Sprawl here instead of the Surveil land. That's my bad.
All good. Yeah, I mean, normally I probably do prioritize the ramp, but like the Surveil land, not a bad idea, as right now we're pretty set where we are and we don't necessarily need the ramp. But looks like they'll Thoughtseize. I imagine they take Karn. I feel like they're going to fear it, but also not taking the World Breaker probably is a feel bad. So I'm not sure. This one's going to be a bit interesting. I think if they take the World Breaker, not Karn, they likely have a force.
And yeah, looking back, I mean, I kind of value the Utopia Sprawl too, because we have 2 threats. So it's just like ramp and we already have the payoffs, but because they're Thoughtseizing, it kind of works out. They take the World Breaker. Okay. That's actually good, because like we talked about in the intro, we can get this back eventually.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the nice thing about World Breaker. It has just so much good recursion. Right now we have access to 7 mana. If we get up to 10, we can cast them on the same turn.
They top as well.
I mean, the good news is that they're tapped out, but like I said, I'm pretty sure that they have force. We definitely want that on top. And they know about the Karn, but they don't know about the Malevolent Rumble. We currently have access.
Should we Sprawl first because it's mana neutral?
Yep, it's mana neutral, so let's Sprawl first, and we can put that for blue. I have access to all our colors. The question now becomes whether or not we Malevolent Rumble here. I think it's better for them to force a Rumble than it is a Karn, so I think we fire off the Rumble.
Okay, I'm down for that. I don't think we're going to be casting Cave Return, so let's hold up in the blue.
Yep, exactly. That way, if we draw into, let's say, a Null Drifter, we can always evoke it if we want to draw some extra cards.
They're paused.
But they definitely have a force here. They're representing it. They're not passing in full. They're just kind of questioning, okay, do we give them the Karn the following turn or not?
There it is.
And there's the force.
Okay. Yeah, it's pretty obvious, I guess.
Yeah, but those small things, they really do make a difference in these matchups and trying to understand, like, okay, why wouldn't they pick a Karn, especially with how impactful it was the turn before?
Yeah, they pitched a subtlety. I'm assuming that's what they took with Preordain.
I'd imagine so.
Another land. Let's attack
So let's see.
first.
Yep, we'll attack first, see if they play
They're down
anything.
to 6.
Yeah, I mean, they have to do something at some point, right?
Say I like playing out Karn into stuff just so they can't crack lose to find more stuff.
No, I definitely agree with that. I think tapping Eldrazi Temple as well as the Utopia Sprawled Forest is right here. We want to leave one temple up just in case we do want to bring back World Breaker. So I think just forcing Karn out, seeing if they want to counter it.
Okay.
Yep, there's the counter spell.
So we
And
can
now we have
bring
access
World
to
Breaker.
Kozak Turn and World Breaker.
Yeah, that's actually huge. And they're gonna surveil here. They're down to 5. They're at the point where they almost have to like chump with Tamio. We're
Yeah.
end of turning getting World Breaker back, right?
Yep, exactly. And we can just sacrifice the forest at this point. Not the one with the Utopia Sprawls, though.
Yeah. Most notably. I have a lot of
Would not be the
clues.
first time that I've misclicked on a land.
Dude, the worst is misclicking on Ugin's Lab. That's just like I
Yeah.
just want to scoop like immediately. They been to consign.
That one's interesting. I wonder why they'd been a consign there. I mean, they have to apply pressure at some point, so they must be looking for a threat, which they clearly did not find since they drew a card. Oh, so this is really notable and something really important for new players to know. Eldrazi Temple is very specific in how it reads. It is an Eldrazi card, or not Eldrazi card, but it says, can you hover over Temple for a second just for it to read? Eldrazi spells or activated abilities. It does not say Eldrazi card, and because of this, World Breaker cannot benefit from the 2 mana generated from Eldrazi Temple. It does have to be the 1 mana.
Oh.
If it said Eldrazi card, then it could.
So we have to actually tap all 3 mana.
Correct.
Oh man. See, and you guys saw it. I tapped like that. Man, that would be I guess that'd be even more broken.
Yeah, it would be. I wish it would, and it seems really intuitive, but unfortunately not. But
do we want to get rid of Tamio now with this member? Or do we want to save it for like Frog or something? I guess we could just
I think we do it for Frog for a blocker. I mean, even if they are to play a big Murktide at this point, this member can shrink it to the point where if they block either the Mycospawn or the World Breaker, it will die. So I think just holding this member is right.
Yeah, if they cast something, they're dead. Okay, nice. Whew.
Yeah, solid 2-0 win against the Murktide. Like I said all the time, this is, for me, one of my favorite matchups just because it is, in my opinion, really straightforward. As you saw with the permission spells using Kozak's command, even with access to consign to memory or counter spells, if you can sequence your your spells right, it just gives you free reign to do whatever on your turn, whether that be a sowing Mycospawn, whether that be a World Breaker, etc. Of course, this game here most notably was won by the fact that our opponents kept a risky hand on that one lander. It still kind of exhibited what Eldrazi Ramp wants to do in this matchup.
All right, welcome to match number 2 on the play. And this looks to be a mulligan.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of like any ways in which, no, I mean, if on the play, there's like 0 way. I might be able to convince in some ways on the draw, but no way in hell on the play.
If we had a 7-drop for Ugin's Lab, for Talisman, well, then we have nothing for each Sprawl. Yeah, it's close-ish if we had a 7-drop, but all right, this one looks medium but acceptable.
Yeah, I like this one a lot more by comparison. I mean, we can lead off with a commercial district. The cards in hand are a little bit rough because, realistically speaking, I kind of want the lands just because we do want to go into a Writhing Chrysalis in case the Rumble gets countered. So we're not sure if we're playing against an aggressive deck, so I'd kind of feel tempted to ditch the return.
It's tough being in the blind. Obviously, like we'd be a snap keep of the cave return, but I'm fine with pitching that for now because Chrysalis does kind of do the same thing a little bit.
Exactly.
So we're going to lead off on a Surveil land, right?
Yep. Surveil land is really good here because it can kind of set us up for next turn. Null Drifter is interesting because it can act as a divination later down the road. We do have the Windswept Teeth to get to our blue, so I'd be comfortable with the Null Drifter.
Okay. Yeah, it's tough because it's going to be like a turn 3, but we can kind of set up our turn. We can Rumble turn 2 into Null on turn 3.
Exactly. Either that, or we also can just play the Writhing Chrysalis, which can then ramp us into the World Breaker and then cast the Null Drifter later down the road.
Now, let's see what they're on.
That's always the question. So it's one of those things like sometimes you recognize people like, okay, I know what you're on, but as you're mentioning to me before the match.
Yeah, they play. Yep, Goryo's Vengeance has been there. That's all they've played is Goryo's Vengeance. And so our sideboard is gonna be good against that. Main board, not so
Yeah,
much, I don't think,
exactly. Soulless Jailer are going to be very good into Goryo's.
but this deck can just win on, like, if they have the nuts, it just beats everything. So
Oh yeah,
we're gonna
1000%.
Eldrazi Temple into Rumble here.
Yep, yeah, that is the right move here. We can go Eldrazi Temple into Rumble, set up potentially for a Myco spawn if we draw into another Soul Land.
Oh,
So this is interesting. So we will have the 4 mana required for Karn, and if it is in fact Goryo's, as you suggested, I mean, a well-timed Tormod's Crypt is really hard for them to deal with. So I'm tempted to lean towards Karn.
yeah. I mean, I agree, because Myco Spawn is just gonna ramp us, and then we'll probably be like almost dead by then. I think Karn is just like a must answer. But
Yeah, I would tend to agree. And I think for the most part, they only run Force and maybe like a 2 of in Goryo's. So I think Karn's a safe choice here.
yeah, that's exactly what they have. 2 Force and Negation.
And now we have also 4 types in yards, and we're cool getting pretty cheap now too, which is nice.
They just pass here. What could they have for 2 mana? They have Tainted Indulgence and Faithful Mending. We draw the Bog, which is actually really funny.
Yeah, Bog will be good later if they do end up Tainted Indulgence here, but we'll go Windswept Teeth, Fetch. Let's go for the Breeding Pool, Shock. That way we can evoke the Null Drifter next turn.
Yeah, and our life total is kind of irrelevant for the most part, unless they get like the beats on, but
Exactly.
should be fine. But they're keeping some stuff up. But I mean, if they have the Force.
Yeah, not much we can do if they do. And even then, if they do force, the question is what they're pitching to. Most times I'm going to imagine it's either a Troxa.
Oh
Ooh,
my
main deck
God.
Consign.
Oh, that is not that's brutal.
That is definitely unexpected. Consign, really good card. It's not usually seen main. I'm actually trying to think here too if Goryo's would run it. Sometimes a one of. Sometimes I do know of one of because it can counter the reflexive trigger from Goryo's. So maybe just a really good meta call on their part.
Yeah. Reflexive trigger for there, solitude, sacrifice trigger if need be. Damn.
Yeah.
That's pretty brutal actually.
It is. The good news is, though, they don't have Tainted Indulgence here, so short of them milling over a Ulamog or a Troxa here, then we should be good to set up. If they do set up with, let's say, a Tainted Indulgence, we do have the Majuka Bog, so we do have some options available to us.
Okay, they have the frog backstreet. I really want them to put a creature into okay, good. Now I don't feel bad playing this bog now.
Yeah, it is sometimes just a feel bad bogging into nothing, right?
Yeah, and they have just frog for indisposable discard. So here now, what do we do? Do we rumble or do we null drifter?
I think it's probably better to actually Writhing Chrysalis. I don't like it when Frog can hit me in the face because that's just free card advantage. So I think Drifter is probably the right call here. Not Drifter, sorry, Chrysalis is the right draw card here.
For some reason, I was thinking we didn't have the mana, but we definitely have the mana. All right, and then we will bog them and not feel bad about it.
Yep, exactly. Because now if they have Goryo's, they'll need another Atrox or another target in order to do so. But as you mentioned, Frog with a free discard might be some trouble, so I'll have to wait and see if they do have the Goryo's plus a threat.
Thoughtseize, okay.
I'll probably take Rumble here. Thankfully, we do have the mana for 7 mana value spells, so if they do take Rumble, that's not exactly the worst thing in the world. If they don't take Rumble, could suggest another counterspell in the way of Force, so we'll have to wait and see.
Took Null Drifter into Philology. I'm surprised he took Null Drifter, actually. I feel like we can cast Worldbreaker and eat one of their lands. I don't know if they care about that.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm not sure they do, because really they only need 2 in order to make it work.
Are we making them pitch their entire hand to this?
So you won't want to sacrifice spawns, but you'll definitely want to block with the Writhing Crystal at the very least.
What they take, actually? They took Ephemerate with Philology. Yeah, it is awkward. So we'll make them at least pitch one. No, they have to pitch 2 cards.
Yep, which is not insignificant, especially if it is, not the threats that they want to pitch. So I think this is perfectly fine for us to block the Writhing Chrysalis. I don't think we want to sacrifice our spawns because then that means our only castable card is Rumble. Whereas if at the very least we do cast Worldbreaker, then we have another blocker for Psychic Frog. We can get rid of a land.
What are your thoughts on pitching the spawn, because each spawn represents an additional card that they have to discard?
Thought they would have to pitch what? How many cards in total? There's a Grizzlebrand.
They'd have
See,
to
this is where I'm not sure.
3 more cards in order to do it.
Yeah.
Like, us casting Worldbreaker is not that big of a deal. I don't know.
Yeah, definitely is an interesting point, because like, what if we were to draw into, what would be a good draw off the top right now is a good question. We have 4 types in yard, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We're short on the Emrakul. You know what? I think if they have the Gorios, they won't pitch. So you know what? I think I'll sign off on fighting this war. So yeah, we'll sack a spawn.
Okay.
I think if they pitch all three to get rid of the Writhing Chrysalis, it means that they have nothing, and that's a-okay for us.
Yeah, so they're fighting this war. I would love to draw like K command.
Yeah, that would be the best case scenario.
They just bounce us.
Okay, so that actually tells us a lot about their last card in hand.
It's
it's
ephemerate. We know it's ephemerate.
Oh yeah, you're right. Okay.
So that's an interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I like that we ended up working Kozilek's Return. So we can't cast that for nothing right now, but we can just like rumble and try to find some action.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's the right move. Most likely they're going to EFM the Philology to try and find a Gorios, I imagine. So we really do need to find something to interact with their yard, whether that be a Kozilek's command or otherwise.
Yeah, I don't think it matters if we type red or blue here. Like, we're not casting
No.
Kozilek's Return, so Sanctum. I do like making the land drops, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, here I think Sanctum is correct. So we'll go Sanctum. World Breaking card can always be picked up later.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, that's just a good value. And we have the spawn for Chrysalis.
Yeah, the only concern now is if they do find a Gorios off the EFM Philology. That'll be the only major concern.
Yeah. I mean, they haven't found one, so they're due.
Nice thing is next turn as well, if we do cast the World Breaker, we can actually K-return from Yard, which will force them to pitch even more cards if they want to keep the Frog.
Man, I wish we had Kozilek's command. That would just be such a blowout.
Yeah, it would be, but they know full well, I think that we have both the break and returns. They are doing this without any concern in the world.
They find nothing, but they get one more look.
They do have the rebound, though.
Yeah, they're due, man. Their graveyard is just stocked, and we have zero pressure.
I wish we could have played the Bajuga Bog a turn later.
Yeah, did they find?
No, they whiffed again. They draw 2, though. Did they find the Gorios? I mean, even if they find the Gorios, they won't have the EFM. They'll have to get a land as well.
Yeah, but I mean, that's tough. Usually Trax is good enough, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Give it flying. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think we have to block and then make them pitch a card, right? I feel like I want to keep the spawn for World Breaker. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that is correct.
It feels so bad though.
It does. I do not disagree, but the World Breaker definitely would be an important cast here at this point.
So we are blocking and then making them discard?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah. But like, I'm trying to think. But if we draw a land, then we're going to feel silly. But
yeah,
if we don't
there's
draw
also the thought of if they do pitch, we could also K-return and basically guarantee that they either need, even if they pitch another card. Yeah, I mean, okay. I think if we offer that, then it clears the Frog, which is the main issue, and it's going to grow over the World Breaker. So yeah, let's sacrifice the spawn, see if they pitch the last one.
Yeah, I like your idea. I like that. So we have the mana floating. It doesn't even matter. They're just not doing it. Okay.
And they just do not want to give up the Frog. So now the question is if we want to cast the K-return to get rid of the Frog, or if we want to keep the Writhing Chrysalis. Because the nice thing about if we keep the Writhing Chrysalis is that we'll be able to cast the World Breaker, and then we have a double blocker, and they definitely can't get over that if we draw into a land, right?
Yeah, I mean, if we draw, but I kind of want to get it, like, this is eventually, like you said, going to get bigger. So I think if we get rid of it now, it's better. So yeah, so let's get rid of it.
Yeah, let's just go for it then.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Draw the this is perfect in a Cavern of Souls too, which means even if they had a consign, they're not going to be able to counter it.
Yeah. Oh, and we get the Sanctum trigger actually, so we can actually. But unfortunately, we already used our bog. So what are we getting with Sanctum?
Yeah, this one's interesting. So let's stack the triggers: K-return, Sanctum, World Breaker. So World Breaker will resolve first.
Oh, we want World Breaker first?
Yeah.
K-return, Sanctum, World Breaker. I usually blow stuff up first, I guess. I don't know. And I guess we get rid of, it doesn't really matter. Just a probably sewers.
They have triple white. They have triple blue. I'd say go for the sewers here. Yeah. One's thinking.
Okay, so we do.
So how many types do we have in yard right now? Should be 5, I think.
Yeah, Planeswalker, creature, land, sorcery, instant.
Okay, so 5, and then we had 7, so we are at 6. I mean, a Solan can get into an Emrakul, but I think maybe just shorting them on mana could be an option. Otherwise, Null Drifter is also a good choice, as that allows us to draw a bit, drink a bit deeper from the well.
Yeah, I don't like Micro Spawn because they just need 2 mana to win.
Yeah.
So we like Null Drifter, maybe?
Yeah, I think Null Drifter works. That way, even if we don't draw into a land, we'll be able to evoke it.
I mean, Sire's interesting because it blocks everything, but...
It does. The only problem I see of Sire is that we can't necessarily cast it next turn if we don't draw. So So there's an EFEM. I'll trigger.
Let's see what they find. They find ephemerate and consign to memory. And because
Imagine
we're
they grab the
killing this, the
consign.
ephemerate just
Yep, exactly. So all they'll be left with is the consign and one unknown card off the draw.
we're getting very lucky that they've drawn 30 cards or they've seen 30 cards.
I can't imagine they'd take anything but the consign. Okay, yeah. Which does make the Null Drifter a little bit more awkward, so we'd love to draw into a land. That way we can cast the Drifter and at least get the body out of it. I guess it does get consign out.
Ah, they top
Oh,
deck the Gorgias.
uh-oh.
Yeah.
Well, this could be trouble. Then they're going to be... Okay, so good news, bad news. They'll counter the trigger with consign instead of countering our Null Drifter, but yeah, a little bit awkward.
They were bound to top deck it eventually, I guess. They've draw 7. I mean, they're probably just going to draw until they find ephemerate.
I mean, they can even just consign the reflexive trigger.
Yeah, yeah.
But I don't think they fit a land drop this turn, so...
Oh, yeah. So they can play a land, hold up, consign, and then...
Well, how many EFEMs have they cast?
2.
There might be one in exile as well because they didn't hit a rebound.
Oh, yeah, 3. Okay.
Okay.
Down to 6.
Solitude. Ketramos. Interesting. I don't see Ketramos in Gorias all too often. Well, that is interesting.
And they have the Thoughtseize. Wow. There's the consign. So I can't think of anything we could draw.
Let's see. We have 6, 5, or 11. 2 short on Emrakul. I mean...
Damn, Emrakul. We had the Emrakul mana.
Yeah. It is a bit tricky. Mega Spawn's not bad. It's not great either, but it is at least something.
It's something, yes. That's the best way to put it.
It also allows us to ramp next turn if we draw into something else.
Take them off Shadowy Backstreet. I wonder what green's for. Oh, I guess just hard casting Atraxa at some point.
Exactly.
I guess we just take Temple.
Yep. Yeah, no reason to take anything else at this point in time.
Yeah.
I guess maybe you could argue grabbing a Ghost Quarter, but I mean, I'm not entirely certain that'd be right. I feel like they've probably gone through most of their basics.
Yeah, here's a Plains. And yeah, and again, they can operate really well on 2 mana, so it's just like, I wonder if it's just like Emrakul or bust at this point.
Cyrus 7 Deaths might be okay at this point, but
true, yeah.
Gorias for trucks though.
Down to 1.
Definitely not a comfortable position to be in, but we're not dead yet. So I see Watery Grave, Marsh Flats, Island, Vengeance, Ketra, Godless Shrine, Force. Okay, nothing that I'm really too worried about here.
Yeah, let's see what they take. I mean, we have 1 turn.
Yeah.
Because they're going to get in for 14 lifeline, go back up to 19. We go to 1. Yeah, we have 1 turn. I just want to, like, if this was paper, I'd be like, just let me look at the top of my deck real quick. Force a negation, Ketramos, and Island.
Yep, no blocks, down to 1, up to 21, up to 18 rather.
Draw 7.
Yep. I mean, they want to draw 7 more time, we wouldn't complain.
Yeah,
I wonder how many consigns, because yeah, if we top deck Emrakul, we win.
I feel like they have to run a set. There's no way they're not. Like, if you're going to run consign, man, I mean, we only have 3 in our deck, but for this deck, it's like a win-win.
Yeah, I mean, it's great into the meta. It's just great tech for itself because you can counter the reflexive trigger.
Oh, they tap out.
I mean, they have the Force still. Wait, why put a counter on Frog?
So they don't have to discard?
Oh, okay, yeah. I was like, what are they doing right now?
Yeah, it's not going to matter.
For them, maybe like Ketra, Frog, Dark Blast. All right, well, it's Emerald. Well, actually, Atraxa is going back to Grave. Well, yeah.
Frog is.
Oof. 2. Let's see. How much mana do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, we're too short on bringing back the World Breaker and casting it on the same turn.
Yeah, we can't sweep it. Yeah.
Unfortunate.
Very close, but yeah, like we said, it just comes down to them just top decking Gorios. All right, so in this matchup, we won 3 Soulless Jailer and...
Yep, 3 Soulless Jailer and 2 Dismember, cutting K return.
And then we need 2
more cuts. And then we can cut Gemstone and Ghost Quarter.
I love cutting lands. Like, it's so like taboo, but I love it.
Yeah, it's one of those things that just like we have enough of them and have enough card selection and RAM to where it doesn't feel as bad. Yeah, hand looks solid.
Yeah, so we can turn 1. We'll turn 1 Force Utopia Sprawl into Talisman into Karn Crypt, something like that.
Yeah, pretty much.
We can name blue with this because we took out all our red cards anyway.
With the exception of Soy and Mega Spawn, but yes. Oh, not Soy and Mega Spawn, sorry, Writhing Chrysalis.
Yeah. And then we have the Talisman here. Okay, so they just... No Thoughtseize is nice. Another Null Drifter. So do we Null Drifter? Is that worth it? Or should we just keep ramping for Karn?
I mean, Null Drifter is an option, but I think we just continue to ramp with Talisman.
I
Actually,
was gonna say we can do both. Yeah. No. Yeah, we can do.
no, we
Oh, because it's not
can't.
blue.
Yeah, exactly. If it was Talisman of Curiosity, then yes,
Yeah. Okay. That would have been sick.
that would have been very good. Because now they get to choose, like, okay, do we let them ramp the 6/3? So they might actually force this and or maybe consign it.
Yeah. I mean, if they can blow a consign on this, I'm totally happy with it.
Exactly.
But if they do, I'm kind of nervous because that means they probably have at least one more in hand.
Potentially, I mean, clearly they're nervous about a kicked Mycospawn on 3 here. There's a frog.
Yeah.
So, I mean, at most, they would need a force here in order to deal with Karn.
Are we just slamming Karn and...
Yeah, I mean, if they're going to force, they're going to force. And with Frog on board, I'm worried about a Gorios. So I think just slamming Karn Tormod script and just feeding them the Karn is worth it here.
I hate this feeling.
Yeah, it's awkward, but like it's definitely a necessary evil because if they just pitch a Troxa Grizzlebrand into Gorios, it's over. But with Karn resolving, we can grab Crypt, and at least then we're a little bit more insulated.
What are your thoughts on... So I'm just going to throw this out. What are your thoughts on Ensnaring Bridge?
Ensnaring Bridge is another option, yeah. I mean, they do run Prismatic Ending most times, though we didn't see it last game. I know that it does tend to be in the sideboard. So my concern would be that they would have the 3 colors available for Prismatic Ending to exile it, where at least Crypt does stop them from getting to Gorios.
Yeah, and I see in their sideboard, they were running 3 Consign in the sideboard, but they also have 3 Leyline Binding in the sideboard, which 100% comes into this matchup. It's like tempting to even get like Stonebrain here and Stonebrain Gorios maybe.
Yeah, I think that would be another potential option. The thing is they're going to untap. Yeah, I mean, I think Stonebrain could have been an option, though. I guess we didn't see Emperor Bones last game, which normally I'd be like, well, Stonebrain Gorios is fine, but then they have Emperor Bones instead.
I still think that this should not target if it hits Planeswalkers. I think that's some BS. I feel like it should make
interesting.
you...
They chose to leave Karn alive.
Is their hand that good? Their hand can't be that good. Like, you got to pitch a card.
Yeah, unless it's just like a handful of, a Troxas and a Gorios. That's fascinating to me. But even if it was,
yeah, like if that's their hand, they would just discard and cast all that.
Yeah, fascinating.
There's
okay. Well, there's the Emperor Bones.
Yeah.
So hear me out. I think a tick up Karn on nothing, but I think we Null Drifter Evoke and the Majuka Bog herself.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
It's a little bit awkward just because of the fact that we don't usually want to Majuka Bog herself, but because of Emperor Bones, we kind of have to.
Sire.
Ooh. Sire is really good. So we'll cast the Talisman of Curiosity.
And then we just...
And then, like I said, we're definitely going to have to Majuka Bog ourselves.
Pretty awkward.
Yeah, it's a necessary evil because of Emperor Bones. We do have the 7 mana next turn for Sire 7 Death, which does feel really good in this matchup. If it resolves, of course.
Yeah, I can't think of... They're not running Subtlety. They pitch a Gorios. So I'm... Oh, no, they... Oh, no. Oh, we
yeah, this becomes awkward because now we have to Tormod script it, but then they definitely have the Gorios.
Let's see. I know, it's just like then they can respond to it. But they're also already in combat. Or...
Oh, no, they're at the beginning of combat, so no, it triggered. They could hold priority to adapt.
Damn, they just had everything.
Yeah.
That sucks.
So the answer to our question earlier is, yeah, they had a fantastic hand.
So much so that they didn't even want to kill Karn.
Yep.
They just wanted to make it so that it couldn't... Oh, they just win here. 7. Here? Yeah, they win.
That's brutal.
Yeah, they just kind of had the nuts kind of... Even like the first game, they did nothing, but they I mean, we also did nothing, so they just did... They had a better payoff than us.
Yep.
7, 8, 9.
Yeah, because they can push up to 12 for Frog since they drew 7, and yeah, that's more than enough.
They have 8 cards in hand. Yeah, 12, 19, 20, 21.
Unless they're afraid of like a Dismember, but I'm doubtful of that.
Oh man, that would be really funny actually.
Frog out of range.
But we would just die to the Dismember.
Yeah. Yeah, they should have zero concern here.
Yeah, look at
as soon as I saw them pitch the Grizzlebrand to target with the Ember Bones into the Tormod script, I'm like, ooh.
Yeah, their hand is... Yeah. All right. Welcome to match 3, and this hand is going back, I'd imagine.
Yeah, so I like to gamble. I should really play Hollow One with the amount of gamble with this deck sometimes.
We're on the draw, so that's something.
We are on the draw, and we're playing 23 lands. 2 of them come to play tapped, so really we're playing with 20 untapped sources here. So with that in mind,
I'm
I
down
mean,
to try it if you are.
I'm trying to think, because if we find a land, then we can null drift. If we find a soul land, then we can soin myco spawn. So like the top, let's see, how many hits do we have in total? We have 20 in lands, and then I'd say even a Malevolent Rumble would be okay to see. So we really have 24 hits, which is getting close to like 50%. So I'll keep it.
Yeah, let's go for it. We're not cowards.
Yeah, I say all the time, like, I play Lotus Field in Pioneer, and one thing that you'd learn just playing a combo deck like that, oh god. Okay, so in the mirror match, this fan feels so much worse, because now if they have land destruction on the play, we're just SOL.
Yeah, but if we get
We
to
do
do
get to
our
see-
stuff,
Yes, if we do get to do our stuff, then excellent, but we can actually get to see what they're on. So, oh, okay. Thought Not Seer is not common, but the Talisman of Impulse does tell me this is ramp. Interesting.
and the forest, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what this is one card we're actually not playing. We do draw the land, which is sweet. So we can go forest, Utopia Sprawl, or it doesn't matter what we go because
Yeah, Forest Utopia Sprawl is probably right here. We don't really need to worry about like whether it's a non-basic or basic, because Microspawn does not care. So just going Forest is probably best.
so yeah, one named blue here. Yeah, so we're not running Devour of Destiny. I haven't been too big a fan of this card, but being a Karn the Great Creator deck makes me want it more. Wow, double forest.
Yeah, so they chose a slow hand as well, so we're definitely in a good position there. They did find an Ugin's Lab though, which I imagine they do pick.
That is what they choose.
That puts them on 5 next turn, so we're still out of kicking range, which is nice. So we might just be able to eke this out.
Another land. Are we just evoking Null Drifter, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, that's really, oh, actually, So I say all the time about this matchup, it is a resource war. So here's the upside downside. The Ugin's Lab gets them into 4 mana no matter what. The 5th mana kind of doesn't matter all too much. There isn't kind of anything in that sweet spot. So the question that becomes, do we advance our game plan or try and interact with theirs? Since it's the 5th mana, not the 6th, I think going Evoke Null Drifter might be right.
Yeah, I'm down for that. Yeah, so we'll just get the Summit Ground now. The reason, yeah, it sucks that we don't have the red because I would love to save the fetch for a commercial district, but all right, so we'll evoke and again play versus draw. Oh, we do draw the Ugin's Lab.
Yeah, so that'll get us to our 5. The nice part about that is that they do go, let's say, Ugin's Lab imprint into Thought Knot. Then we can always go, if they don't pick Mega Spawn, we can go into Ghost Quarter and at least set them back a bit.
Okay, they're
There's
just
my Mega
rambling.
Spawn.
Yeah, this is
So
like
now
play
they're up to
draw,
7.
man. Oh,
Karn is interesting here.
we don't have a nah. I feel like it doesn't do anything here.
Well, so the thing about this matchup is that bridge is kind of hard to play around. And let's see, if we go Lab, Imprint, Sire, we go up to 5. So in Mega Spawn would be a -2 down to 3. But they have access to 2, 4, 6, 7 mana. Yeah, I think Lab. Well, let's see. We'd be able to take up Karn up to 6. Yeah, because they can't deal with Karn easily without killing it. How many types do they have in yard? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So Solan into Emrakul is concerning.
I'm assuming they'd have to top deck that, I'd imagine, because they haven't played it.
Yeah, well, they would have been able to play it last turn, but next turn if they do, I guess no, they'd have to top deck a Solan, you're right. I think going Ugin's Lab, Imprint, Sire, cast Karn, and plus is the right move here.
So plus, so let's say we plus the 6, they attack it down to 3, we down tick and we get bridge is what you're suggesting? The only
Bridge would be an option. I'm
Okay.
also wondering if maybe Mega Spawn is right to ramp.
So we can ramp with Microspawn, or because we're kind of on the back foot, is Ghost Quarter an option for Ugin's Lab?
Yeah, push them down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So at least it moves them out of World Breaker range. Okay, here's what we can do. We can go Myco Spawn, and then I think I'll grab a Lab, imprint the Sire 7 deaths, and just hope they don't have any more land interaction, because if they don't, then that would get us to Ugin. So yeah, I think we do that.
I like that. I can get behind that.
Yeah, it's always an interesting position to be on the draw here, because you're always on the back foot.
Yep. Yeah, this is like a high risk, high reward play, I think.
So go Ugin Lab, Imprint Sire. There's a thought 2K return to get him out of.
I was just thinking that.
World Breaker range. Yeah, I think that would be fine. It limits their options, and they're going to exile even if they have a World Breaker. So in Mega Spawn, they're going to still exile the Saracen that's already tapped, so it's a bit of a moot point. So I think we do Kozilek's Return here, and it puts them one out of range of Emrakul as well. So I think this is the best case scenario.
All right, we have 4, 5, 6, 7 mana. We have 8 mana next turn, and we can actually Karn Bridge next turn as well. That is an option.
That is, I think Ugin probably going to be a bit better. Like I said, it's just a fantastic mirror breaker. We don't need to block that. It would add another type to Yard, which would put him back in range of Emrakul. So I think it's best to just let that through.
Okay, I'm down.
Yeah, always have to have Emrakul in the back of your mind in the mirror match.
What do they have? What do they have? They're not just slamming something.
Yeah, if they were, then I'd be a bit more scared. But if we can just land Ugin, start drawing cards, then I think we're just off to the races for the win.
So if you had to choose between Ugin and Karn next turn, you'd choose Ugin?
I think so, because then they have, like, unless they have another attacker on board, but if they have nothing else but the Soin Micro Spawn, I think we just Ugin plus they attack Soin Micro Spawn into Ugin, but then we block. Yeah, this is, I think, just a no-brainer for Ugin here.
Are we assuming that they're on Kozilek's command?
Yeah, that was my thought here. Whereas if we go Karn, oh, this is interesting.
They're just, if I feel like we just lose, like they go end step, Kozilek's command, they make all the mana, and then just start wiping out our board. So do we want that established Ugin already?
Yeah, it's either established Ugin or we go Karn and hold up K return. Because we could even go Karn.
Oh, yeah. Holding up K return for for the spawns.
Yeah, they have access to 1, 2. The thing is, they're going to scry draw regardless.
Yeah, but they won't have all the mana to go nuts with. But then I don't know. It's a lose-lose, I think. I don't know.
Yeah, I think probably Ugin here is right. The worst case scenario is going to be that they end up with an Emrakul, but even then they can't exactly do anything to Ugin. Ugin just kind of sticks on board.
Yeah,
So yeah, I think
I'm fine with that.
so. It is a May, thankfully, or rather up to.
Yeah.
We don't have to exile our own Utopia Sprawl, which feels a lot better than when we would cast Devourer and have to exile our own Utopia Sprawl.
So we're just going to uptick this. Is there any world in which we play Breeding Pool untapped, downtick, and cast Karn?
That's a thought. I mean, having both Karn and Ugin on board is really good.
And we have the blocker. I kind of like what's better than like a random card than Karn?
Yeah, I think I would agree there. So let's go Breeding Pool, downtick, play Karn.
I'd say the only downside for that is we're not upticking to ultimate. So what's your thought on that then?
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of like what their outs are here, and they don't have anything immediate. If we get Karn on board, then we get Bridge, and they're having to answer that. So I think getting Karn on board is right.
Cool.
Yeah, this is kind of where I've been talking about, like, Ugin is really good in like this dirtily stall game, where now, like, even if we get behind Bridge, Ugin just going to be able to be in a good spot. We do want to tick up Karn here, I think, just in case they do hit Soin Mega Spawn with a K command. Not to mention, we did see Thought Not Seer. I do not know how many they're on, so I'm a little bit concerned that if we do downtick for Bridge now, that they'll just Thought Not Seer it. Because the worst case scenario, I think, is they exile the Soin Mega Spawn now, then hit Karn, and then Thought Not Seer for the Bridge. And we're kind of just left holding the bag.
Yeah, I can't imagine them worrying about like if I was them, I would just scry, make spawn, and just go nuts.
Yeah, likely the case. I mean, we're right about that K command.
Yeah, it's something to hold up the K return.
Yeah. I think both Karn and Ugin being on board, though, is just really going to be hard for them to deal with. Even if they do find an Emrakul, like I said, we'll just be able to downtick Karn into Bridge, which then leaves the Emrakul kind of null and void, where they're going to need to get a World Breaker to deal with it. So I think having both Ugin and Karn was right. Just very hard for them to deal with it.
I know, it's always sad when you have nothing to exile with Ugin.
Yeah, but I mean, it being a planeswalker rather than just like a 6/6 body feels so much better, especially where we can just win in like 2 more turns, basically. I'm just thinking hard here. I have to feel like they're going to go into an Emrakul. I'd be surprised if they didn't. Let's see, next turn we'll have access to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Technically 11 mana. We'll have access to a lot. 2 top, 3 bottom, and draw.
Seems pretty average.
Well, now it comes down to what they drew into. I mean, if it's just like land interaction, then it really doesn't matter. They attack with Micro Spawn, snap block.
Easy trade. So what did they keep?
Yeah, that's the question. I mean, they I can't imagine they kept nothing of use. I mean, they can cast anything in their deck for all intent and purpose.
Yeah. There's an Eldrazi. Okay, it is a kicked micro spawn. Get rid of one of these.
It could go for the forest, but yeah, since we have 2, or I guess 3 forests, then yeah, just going for the soul land makes sense.
You think they're gonna go double micro spawn?
They could go double Micah Spawn. They also might, if they run Ghost Quarter as well here. Sanctum of Ugin. Okay, so I think they don't have Emrakul. I think they're trying to get into Emrakul, would be my guess. World Break.
And that's
still
World Breaker
fine.
kills bridge too, which is annoying.
It does, but now that they've played one, and most decks run between 1 to 2 tops, that's kind of okay. Because if they go Emrakul here, that's fine. Yeah, if they grabbed another World Breaker, I'd be more concerned. Okay, so this is kind of interesting. And the reason why I say this is we want bridge, but we don't want to draw cards.
Both of these are...
yeah, that's interesting.
4 mana.
So at the very least, we do want to downtick Karn for bridge. That's no ifs or buts about that. The question is if we activate Ugin, if we plus or minus. Right now I have access to 4 mana.
Is there anything like amazing we can get with Karn that's not bridge? No.
I mean, Tormod's Crypt can get rid of their yard, which means they can't cast the Emrakul, but there's not much else than that feels good right now.
Yeah.
Because I mean, on one hand, that means they can't cast the Emrakul. On the other hand, that means that we would have to evoke the Null Drifter to sweep the Soin Mycospawn. World Breaker would attack into Ugin most likely. They might go for Karn though. That's also a possibility. Let's start with Ugin.
Do we want to risk the uptick?
That's the question, right? Do we want to uptick? Because right now it just feels so bad if we have bridge.
But they're gonna play Emrakul and just uptick or do whatever and like attack into stuff anyway.
Oh, that's true. That is true. So actually, I guess maybe there's an argument to downtick return because that would put us with 2 in hand instead.
3. You mean if we 0 Ugin and then just we could 0
not cast Null Drifter, but cast return instead. That would allow, so we have a return in hand that we can cast as well as bridge.
Yeah, so if we downtick, cast return, cast bridge, and pass.
Yeah, that way that if they attack, take up with Ugin, we only have 2 in hand.
I'm down for that.
It's very awkward board state. But if they cast the Emrakul, the worst they can do is downtick Karn and grab nothing. Well, I guess they can. Oh, I guess they can also evoke the Null Drifter.
Yeah, but that would only put 2 cards in hand. Or no, there'd be 3.
Yeah, that's true. So yeah, I think we're fine in that case. So bridge.
Yeah, so let's
and
just
then pay return.
Downtick, cast bridge, eat nothing, cast this, eat nothing.
That's the one thing about Ugin, the number of triggers on Moto.
Yes. Oh man. And I was trying to think of a way if we could actually, was there a way, I just thought about it, was there a way that we could evoke, what if we downticked, cast Kozilek's Return, then evoked and got rid of all their creatures?
Yeah, I mean, I guess that actually wouldn't have been... Oh, yeah, that actually would have been much better play if we had done that downtick Karn for Tormod's Crypt. Yeah, that would have been, I think, the smarter play in retrospect.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, I mean, we could have done that.
Yeah, it's always after the fact that you kind of realize those lines, I feel.
Yeah, Sanctum.
I guess they could Sanctum, evoke Null Drifter, fail to find with Sanctum.
Yeah, they can't get in with anything because this only draws 2. So that's good that we drew the land.
I guess they can take up Karn on bridge, though. Yeah.
Or they can just not play the land. They can evoke. Yeah, they can evoke, draw 2, and then attack Karn down to 1. That's about it.
Well, attack Karn down to 1, but also take up bridge, or take up on bridge, actually, to then slam bridge into a blocker.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. So yeah, the right line in retrospect definitely was cast K return, cast evoke Null Drifter, clear board, downtick Karn for instead of bridge for Tormod's Crypt. So yeah,
we had the line
because now they also get to exile our Utopia Sprawl. Funny enough. Oh, that's interesting.
We draw Ugin's Lab and Emrakul.
1, 2, 3, 4. I guess the thing is they could exile both returns, but I feel like they don't want to do that. Oh, that's interesting because that would reduce the number of types in yard. So they might say yes to this because we have 5 types or 3 types. Looks like 3 types in yard. If they take up on bridge and attack with it, then yep, then it'll be 4 types. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Man, that's brutal.
Yeah. Yep, so definitely missed the right line last turn, but we might be able to rally back. No good way to exile Bridge from Yard unless we draw into a Kozilek's command to grab back with Karn. That's a thought.
Yeah, I'm just thinking we have access to 4, potentially 5 mana. And if we draw another Karn, that could be a thing. Karn and Kozilek's command, I think, to help get Bridge back could be a thing.
Yeah, gonna be an interesting next turn.
I guess we do get another card draw with Ugin as well.
Yes, unless we need to zero. Burning Catacombs is not it, so I think we do have to draw with Ugin.
+9.
Yeah,
For
because right now there's already an artifact in Grave, so we can't add a type to Yard with Karn. So yeah, I think we just take up with Ugin, draw a card.
yeah, let's draw Rumble.
Malevolent Rumble's looking nice.
Rumble like
Red.
this.
See what we hit. So this will add a type to Yard up to 5.
A lot of types here.
We already have Creature in Yard. We already have Artifact. Utopia Sprawl Karn into Yard is interesting. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. So we can't go Karn into Karn.
Are we just dead on board?
No, not necessarily. Because this will add 1, 2 types to Yard, 3 types to Yard. So we'll go up to 7. 7, 8, 9, 10.
We only have access to 2 mana.
4 mana because we'll get a spawn as well as have access to Ugin Lab.
Oh, so 1, 2. Isn't that just 3 mana then?
Ugin's Labyrinth, Blueprint, Emrakul.
Yeah.
So that'd be 4 mana.
Oh, yeah, but then we have nothing to cast unless you're trying to cast one of these.
Yeah, that'd be the question because Spawn can block World Breaker, but that's still 16 damage. Yeah, I think we are just dead because this will add 1, 2 types to Yard. So up from 4 to 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yep. I'm thinking we are. Oh, actually, no, we can create 2 blockers. Grab the Talisman of Impulse.
Okay.
And then play, let's go with the Sanctum of Ugin.
And we're just going to plus on
and
it?
then play the Talisman, and then plus of Karn. We're not dead just yet.
Oh, God. Yeah. We have 11 minutes on clock, though.
Yeah, that's one hard part about 2 brains piling 1 deck.
Yeah.
Then the mirror match always has like these small micro lines that are easy to miss, as we've seen before. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So if they don't interact with our mana base, which depends on the stirrings, and we draw into a 7 mana value spell. Okay, so they reveal Thought Knot, so they're going to take Emrakul Thought Knot. I guess they have a question of, do they get rid of Karn or Ugin?
I'm going to say Karn.
I'm not sure because Karn can't grab too much right now unless we draw into something to get rid of Bridge from Yard.
Yeah, I guess we'd have to draw like another Karn. I don't know.
We'd have to draw K command. K command X equals however much. Okay, there's one.
Yeah, that just does
They slow rolled the command.
Jeez, they cast Thought Knot just to clear the way of 1 mana or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, so realistically speaking, probably should have won that match. We just did not see the line until it was too late.
All right, so this matchup, is it literally just like 3-3 like this?
Yep, pretty much. There's not much else. Well, okay, so it gets a bit interesting because they're playing Thought Knot Seer. Dismember does become appealing. So I would bring Dismember here.
What do we want in replace of that? Like Chrysalis is kind of medium?
I would cut Gemstone Cavern since we're on the play. And then they do have Graveyard Hate just innately with the Kozilek's command, so Emrakul becomes a bit weaker. So we can probably cut an Emrakul.
I'm down for that. All right, let's play like Lightning Speed here.
Yes, we can keep that.
We have Ramp with Sprawl, nothing for Lab, but we have Rumble.
Yeah, this could be a turn 2 card, so we go Ramp, Forest, Sprawl for, let's say, red, just in case we draw into a Chrysalis. And then pass. Next turn, if we draw into a 7 mana value spell, we can play Ugin's Lab into Karn, take down for Liquid Metal Coating, which should just end the game.
Yes.
Red.
I was going to say, what the hell are they playing with?
Someone's playing Ragavan.
Yeah. All right, they find Talisman of Impulse. We draw Dismember. So let's
start with Rumble then, yeah.
Find a 7.
We'll go. I think we go Sowing Mycospawn actually, because if we draw into a 7 mana value spell, then we can kick it next turn.
I'm down for that. Do we want to Surveil with this?
I think going Eldrazi Temple would be good because right now we have 3. Well, right now we have 3 mana. If we Temple, we have 5. So any land gets us to 6. So unless they interact with the spawn with, let's say, a Kozak's command, then we should be in the clear for a kicked Myco spawn.
Talisman. So now we're just gonna eat their stomping ground.
So this is actually interesting.
No blue
One,
mana.
two,
We can get it with
three.
this.
So okay, so there's actually a few interesting things we can do here.
Or
I think what we
Karn.
do is we actually play Karn because it removes a land the same way a Myco spawn would.
I agree. Do we want to get a breeding pool here?
So Verdant Catacombs, just hold it up, and then we can always breeding pool on their end step if we don't need to cast the consign.
But don't we not want to waste the spawn?
I mean, we have to regardless. If you want to hold up consign to memory, because there's still a possibility that they go lab into, let's say, their own Karn, and then it kind of becomes a bit awkward.
Okay, I think we're ahead enough to where we can do that. Because we're still
I'll mention next turn we'll still have 6 mana for a kicked Myco spawn.
Yeah. What do we want to get with this? Just coding?
Yeah, we just downtick for coding here.
Coding, get rid of catacombs, pass.
Yep, and then we just hold up the consign in case they play their own Karn. We consign the Karn.
Cavern.
Yep,
Yeah, they
and
shouldn't
that's
have anything.
A-okay for us to see. So if they play nothing here, we'll just fetch for a commercial district, and then we will fetch for a breeding pool with a Soin Myco spawn instead. Because that way we're guaranteed to leave the consign up on all relevant turns.
They milled over.
Okay, perfect.
So commercial district?
Yep,
Or,
commercial district.
Yeah. Bog, we don't want.
I
I mean, it could stop their Emeralds, actually.
Yeah, I mean, we can always grab Tormod's Crypt, so I think we can put that into Yard.
Yeah, that's fair. Null Drifter. That's something for Ugin's Lab if we want it.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so what we can do instead here is we can actually go after 2 lands for the price of 1 and not even have to hold up the consign.
Okay.
Because we can kick a Myco spawn, and then we can fetch for the breeding pool and then coding.
All right, so let's. Am I imprinting here?
Yep, exactly.
Okay.
So that gets us up to 7, and then kicks Myco spawn brings us down to 2, and then we'll be able to cast the coding.
So kick Myco spawn.
Yep, and since they only have 2 color sources, we want to kick the Cavern of Souls.
Why do we want to do that? Oh, because of
because right now the talisman's locked down, and so there are only 2 color sources, are Cavern of Souls and the spawn.
Oh, you mean colorless?
Oh, yes, colorless.
Okay.
Colorless sources.
Okay, I was like, wait, there's like 2 colored sources.
Yep, colorless sources, my bad.
Yeah, perfect. Okay. So that game went a lot more smoothly. Do we want to bring the gemstones back in?
Yep, gemstone back in, and we can probably cut Sire's 7 Deaths. Doesn't feel like it's doing too much here.
How do you feel? Like we already cut another top end for Ugin's Lab.
We didn't really talk about it last time, but the numbers for Ugin's Lab is really between 9 and 11 is your sweet spot, 9 being the floor, 11 really being where you're seeing your most value, and anything after that you see depreciating value. So I think cutting the 10th one is still pretty acceptable here. So I think cutting the Sire over the Chrysalis is good because Chrysalis can still ramp us into 6 more effectively than another 7-minute value spell can. I think we can keep this a bit more interactive, a bit more top deck reliant, but the consign to memory being able to be held up after turn 2 is pretty strong.
All right, they just go Foothills go.
So we can just go breeding pool. I guess right now they don't really have much they'd play on turn 2, so we can probably just go with
Breeding pool play the breeding temple.
I think breeding pool tapped here is fine.
Yeah, because the most they can do is just play a talisman of their own. I don't think we're going to counter that.
We always want to counter what they're casting and not what they're ramping into. Yeah. Or not what they're ramping with, rather. Because, yeah, most they're going to play here is Rumble or Talisman, Lab, Emrakul, Stone Rain. That is a bit awkward. Thankfully, I have the Talisman of Curiosity later, but this could be tricksy now.
Turn 2 Stone Rain. I mean, at least they used it on the non-soul land. That's one way to look at it.
Yeah, exactly. Jupabog. That's a pretty feel bad for them. It also means they're probably pretty non-interactive. Then we go Temple, Talisman for blue. Yeah. Or Talisman hold up, rather, and hold up blue.
Or ramp him.
Yep. We're up to 5. So, I mean, if we find a soul land here, we can World Breaker next turn.
They just do nothing.
Yeah, this could be a command. I mean, we have nothing really to do here. So it's Commercial District and Surveil.
Keep
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Actually, yeah, put that on top. The reason being is that allows us to cast both the World Breaker next turn and hold up the consign.
Oh, that's sick, actually. Are we countering this? I think so.
Oh, this one's tricky. I mean, they didn't play anything else, so I think it is right to consign here. If they had castables, I think they would have cast it.
Like if they had Micro Spawn or something, they probably would have just slammed it.
Yeah. So this is going to be a Rumble.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
That was just a sprawl. Okay.
Yeah, we're just gonna World Breaker their Ugin's Lab, yeah?
The World Break in the Ugin's Lab doesn't do much because it's not tapped. I think it'd be better for us. It's actually really awkward.
Or Ether Sprawl.
1, 2, 3, 4. The Ugin's Lab. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think we go Forest here instead of imprinting the Ugin, because that way we can play Ugin next turn.
I like that.
Right now I have 4 types in yard. They would add the 5th. Yeah, World Breaker the Forest. It's a bit awkward. Oh, no, actually, sorry, Ugin's Lab, because they don't have colors then.
Yeah.
Yeah. In retrospect, yeah. I was thinking, like, it doesn't really take off 2 mana. It kind of takes off 1. It's a bit awkward in that regard. But I think that is correct, because otherwise they don't have colorless mana.
And now we can Ugin their Utopia Sprawl.
Yep, exactly.
They find their own Ugin. Ooh.
So, I mean, we take off 2 lands versus 1. So I think we go Forest, Mycospawn, kick, and kick the Forest instead.
And then we'll go get... Wow, they scoop it up. Oh, man.
Yeah, I mean, they really had nothing going for them there. Their best play was that Stone Rain, but there's a reason why I don't like Stone Rain all too much, because it kind of feels like, yeah, you're time walking your opponent, but for them to hit just a basic, or in this case, a breeding pool, just didn't feel like a really impactful play in the grand scheme.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they fired it off too quickly. I don't know. And they just had no follow-ups. All right, match 4 on the play. And we have a turn 1 Utopia Sprawl into turn 2 Evoke. Is that good enough?
Yeah, I think this is good enough, especially with that K command. If we draw into a Soul End here, this hand looks fantastic. We have 8 hits off the top, so this hand looks solid.
And this looks like such an unsuspecting hand. Like, no Eldrazi Temples, no, like, Soul Lands, but...
Yeah, normally for me, if I see, like, 8 potential hits off the top, I'm pretty tempted to keep most hands. Once it moves above 8, I'm like, yeah, we'll just keep.
Are we going blue or red here? Blue?
I think we can go blue here. Worst comes to worst, we can always fetch shock for red if it is energy, for example.
And this can always surveil too for that red source.
Exactly. Oh, are we seeing the mirror match again?
No, not again.
Looking like it.
So bored. If anyone knows me, they know I hate mirror matches.
I don't know. I kind of like it because it's very nuanced. Like, you're both playing around each other in a very unique way.
Yeah. I'm just like, I'm already playing this. I don't feel like seeing more of my deck somewhere else. Okay, so we can ramp and surveil, you think?
Yeah, I think we ramp surveil. That means that next turn, if we draw into a soul land, we can kick the Mycospawn. Basically, we draw 2 with the surveil trigger. If we don't see the soul land, then we can always bottom if it's not something better.
They have the Ugin's Lab. Most likely Talisman?
Probably a Malevolent Rumble, Talisman. Oh, this looks like it's mono green. So not exactly the same. It means that they don't have access to things like Consign, like Stone Rain. So this is a lot more fragile in the mirror match, I found.
I think, like, I feel like this is a worse deck. I think just because what's his name won one time, people just like play this as gospel, and I'm just like, I don't agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, that's Moto for you. It is usually the dog chasing its own tail. Gemstone, it doesn't feel great, but it is a colorless source. Actually, okay, so I think we go with this, and then because the reason being, I think we play the Mycospawn, and we'll actually be in a bit of disadvantage, because I think we grab Ghost Quarter and hit the lab.
Yeah, that feels bad, but I agree.
Yeah, it would have been nicer if it was a soul land, but going Mycospawn Ghost Quarter here sets them back a turn, basically, which is definitely important here, especially if they have like another soul land into a kicked Mycospawn.
We want to do it on our turn, so that way they can't K-return, tap it.
Correct.
And it gets rid of one of their cards. Yeah, it does feel bad.
Yeah, but I think it's a necessary concession in this situation, because now they're down colors sources. They can't cast their K command. Okay, they can still cast their K command. At least they weren't able to cast. So in Mycospawn, they have Karn. I think they have the plus here. The good news is, so Mycospawn can just smack in Karn, and at the bet. Ooh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, a little bit late, but we can go for a pretty large K command on end step. So this still feels pretty good. So I think we smack Karn in the face and then imprint the Null Drifter, call it a day.
Man, imagine if we had this a turn sooner, it would have been definitely 100% game.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate part.
I guess they can still bridge here.
Yeah, they can still bridge. I mean, the Mycospawn will still be able to attack in though, since they're at 4. They get another Karn. They might just go Liquid Metal Coating. The thing is, if they do, then we K command X equals 4. And that's going to put us in a pretty good position. Down to Karn.
They find Stonebrain.
Interesting. Are they going to name Karn? So I think if they activated this turn, I think we K command.
I agree. Because they would probably definitely choose Kozilek's command.
Yeah, I think Kozilek's command's a good choice. I think Karn's a good choice here. In fact, we can actually use that to our advantage if we think they're going to choose Karn, and put Karn on top and draw an extra card, basically.
Oh, that's actually kind of funny. There's a Karn.
Oh, There's Karn, but there's also Emrakul. Not to mention, obviously, anything you put on top underneath is going to get shuffled. So we have access to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I mean, I think what we do here is we put Emrakul into hand.
Yeah.
So I think we stack it. Emrakul goes to the hand, and then Karn after that, then Null Drifter. So you want to go Null Drifter top?
Yeah. Top, top, top.
Top, yeah. So this way, if they if it would be 5,000 IQ play if they name Emrakul here, I think.
And if they
I think
don't,
they're
we
most
get Karn and wreck them.
Well, our deck's going to get shuffled regardless. Okay, they do choose Emrakul. I guess, yeah, top didn't matter because, yeah, it's just going to get shuffled, but
They chose
okay.
Emrakul?
Yeah, I mean, there's a smart play. They saw the potential, but I think there's more impactful plays immediately here.
Which
Like another big command.
Okay, so we know they have another Karn in hand.
Sprawl is mana neutral, so we can start there and put that onto the forest as red.
We'll
And
attack
then
Karn
we'll
down.
attack with one Micro Spawn at Karn. No reason not to do that, because that unlocks our talisman.
What are your thoughts on doing a big K command right now, looking for we have green. I think we want to find like micro spawns for this, honestly.
Yeah, I think that'd be right. We just do a big K command, hold up a green.
Just one green.
Yep, just one green should be fine.
All right, so this is a huge K command, and if we can,
yeah, Karn, Myco Spawn, World Breaker, Ugin, even all solid hits.
I mean, we have everything.
So let's see here. How many types do they have in Yard right now? They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I mean, we can simply go. So let's bottom Bog, let's bottom Temple. We don't need either of those right now. They also have Karn in hand.
We don't need Talisman.
So Talisman isn't needed either. So what we can do here is let's top Myco Spawn first off and foremost, because that will shuffle our deck. So we want that last.
We want World Breaker right now, though.
We could World Breaker right now, but we could Karn, cuts them off with Talisman, play Karn, grab Liquid Metal Coating, which then cuts them off of Eldrazi Temple.
Yeah, I like
that.
So
I think Myco Spawn top.
Okay.
And then I think we can go Null Drifter top.
Do we want Null Drifter?
I guess we don't necessarily need it.
It's better than a normal, like a random draw, I think.
So I'd say Null Drifter top. Then I'd say World Breaker top.
I kind of want World Breaker because we're going to be shutting off 2 lands. Yeah.
Yeah, so in that case, top Ugin.
Top World Breaker.
Top Breaker. Then top Karn.
Okay.
And then play Karn for 3 plus the forest.
And have a stop at their upkeep.
Perfect.
Down tick. Go get coding. And they just scoop it. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, they are just at such a huge disadvantage.
Yeah, they have 3 mana. They need to play a land, Karn. Dude, Kozilek's command is just...
It's a good card.
Yeah. So in this matchup, in the mono green matchup, do we need the Dismember now?
No, I mean, to my knowledge, they don't run Thought-Knot Seer, but most lists don't. So that last one was a bit of an anomaly. So I think just bringing the Consign is right here. And looks good. If we draw into another Temple, we have a Command X2. Otherwise, we have a Rumble on 2. So I think we just go Temple, pass, and then stomping around Shock, Rumble if we don't draw into a Temple.
Okay. And we can hold this open for blue.
Yep, exactly.
We can have a late turn Bajuka Bog to make sure to keep them off Emrakul. And they know our deck.
We have a good number of hits. We have Eldrazi Temple as 4, and then Utopia Sprawl as 4. So we have 8 hits off the top there alone. If we find a Myco Spawn, that would also be solid, because then we would be able to potentially go Malevolent Rumble into a Soul Land for a kicked Myco Spawn on 3. So I think like out of the top cards in the deck, we have like 12 hits in 2 draws. So yeah, I think we're in a pretty good position with this hand.
Cool. You always love to see when they start with as long as it's not it's going to be Utopia Sprawl. Never mind.
Yep. Yeah, that's a strong start. Nothing on our end. So I think we just Temple and then pass. Yeah, they're going to take Eldrazi Temple.
They have a really good start. Oh my god. Brutal.
Yeah, this one's kind of rough. Like, we could theoretically try and feign that we have a whatchamacallit, a Consign, but
is it worth it to either spawn, or do we just try to just focus on us right now?
I was about to say that is the option, because they would need another Soul Land to kick. So I think a Kozilek's command X=1 to exile the spawn is right.
And I want spawn?
Yeah, we want to ramp here, because then it puts us up to 4. So then we might have the ability to do more next turn.
Bog.
Pachuca Bog, that's fine.
Microspawn.
That's a Microspawn.
Nice. So getting rid of that was important. Well, I
Yep.
guess they didn't have the. Well, I guess they might have had the untapped land and chose not to play it, so we don't know.
Yeah.
All right,
Now
so
they have all the mana they need.
Yeah, they're in the driver's seat.
Consign would be good here. Another Kozilek command. I think we rumble here and sack the spawn for the rumble, because the best case scenario is we draw into another temple where we can then command X2 and offset the land destruction that's inevitably going to come.
You don't like playing a stomping ground or just fetching a breeding pool, playing rumble with that and keeping open temple and keeping the spawn for ramp?
Yeah, I guess that is a thought. It just means that, well, I guess next turn we could potentially play the slow land anyways. Yeah, I guess we can do that. So if we go stomping ground, or I guess, well, yeah, we should Misty Rainforest in case we rumble over the breeding pool. So yeah.
And then, I mean, if they're going to wipe us, they're probably going to hit the temple anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's rumble.
Well, okay, so Sire's Sun Death is good here because that opens up a line if we draw into an Ugin's Lab. So I think we go Sire's 7 Deaths, as well as it just being a decent beater here. It's pretty evasive and hard for them to deal with if they themselves do not play Sire. Yep. So we could theoretically command X equals 2 here. It's kind of mana neutral.
I kind of like that. I feel like we're desperate.
Yeah, it at least sets up our next 2 draws. It's not like the commands are doing much right now otherwise.
Yeah. And this is definitely how you win the mirror. Just draw your microspawns.
Yep. I mean, like I've said before, it's just all a whoa.
Forest.
Why go for a forest? Oh, okay. Yeah, that's fair. Ugin. I think they're going to grab. Karn. Yeah, Karn probably is right here. So I think we go actually K. So it's interesting. We could go K command ramp and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exiling their spawn is a thought because we would be able to get them off a 7.
We could do it next.
Because right now they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh Jesus, another command.
Usually these are good, but not right now.
Yeah, because we could. The thing is, they have Karn, and that's going to be land destruction. So even the sprawl feels really rough.
Yeah, I honestly think we bottom both. Like,
yeah, I think so too.
It's not really doing anything.
4 types in yard, so we have 8. I'll attack.
Our own microspawn.
Okay.
But Karn's just.
Well, yeah, but at least we get a body on board, which is relevant.
It sucks we can't exile land though.
Yeah. The thing is, they're going to get a liquid metal coating regardless. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah,
there's no way to interact with that. And we also probably need a Bajuka Bog to avoid an Emrakul too as a thing.
And I feel like we can't play around everything. Like if they have, I think we lose to both.
Yeah, that's the problem, right? Like we definitely lose to both. Oh, rough. So, I mean, Microspawn ramps us. It replaces the spawns. We could Kozilek's command the spawn to stop them from playing Ugin at least.
I'm kind of thinking like Microspawn Temple, I guess, and then just like Stomping Ground untapped though to try to save spawn for the ramp.
Yeah, I think so too.
Like it sucks, but because if
always
we just
an awkward position to be in.
Yeah, if I want to try to conserve. Just do that, and then next turn we have access to 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh man.
Interesting. Imprinting the Ugin. Why do that? There's KGC, and they still have 7 mana left. And they go for liquid metal coating. That much is certain.
Do they though? I feel like they run some goofy stuff.
I guess they have access to Cityscape Leveler, don't they?
They do. They choose coding though.
Play coding.
So are we doing something with this temple with K command?
Yeah, that's the question, because we can K command X equals 4, and we'd be able to get up to 6 at most.
I kind of like that, honestly, because what are they going to get with Karn next turn that we care about?
Not too much. So yeah, I think we K command here.
I'm just gonna like scry draw.
Yeah, because even a consign here doesn't feel great at this point. So there's no point in holding up blue.
So we can either bog or we can play Microspawn for next turn, like ramp for next turn.
Well, no, because we haven't played a land, so we can Verdant Catacombs fetch, but it means that anything we put on top won't stick there. But if we do run out of lands, we just lose. So I actually think we might want to Microspawn and just play it, and then Eldrazi Temple.
Yeah. Set up for next turn.
Because we're just kind of playing catch up now.
Yeah.
So play Verdant Catacombs.
We drew the Null Drifter for turn. Oops. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, I probably should have drawn into the World Break in retrospect.
Yeah, for some reason I was thinking we were going to shuffle everything, but that was a draw step. All right, Microspawn, get another temple, and I guess we pass. Yeah,
I mean, there's no point in attacking, really. Coding. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. If we draw into a soul land, then we can play the Emrakul. Actually, ooh, that's interesting. If they don't interact with our land base, which I think is hard pressed.
Oh, they just have the Emrakul.
We're not dead yet, but it's going to be interesting now. Realistically speaking, the best thing they can do here. Oh no, they can Bajuka Bog ourselves.
So you just want to scoop?
Blocking.
We're not blocking?
Yeah. I mean, there's not really a point in it when they're just.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of like a lose-lose.
Yeah, because they're still going to attack in into our own Mega Spawn, so imagine it's block. Because we do have an out, but it's
I'll take a draw step.
uncomfortable. Talisman, because if they attack in, they'll stack the spawn, but Juka Bog. Oh, interesting that they're doing it now. I feel like they should have attacked in first.
They got too excited.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 mana. Well, we're not dead then, because we have Sire to vote. Interesting. Why do this? Because, yeah, now we have Karn. I'm confused.
This is why you play it out.
But yeah, 1000% you never concede because they're just giving us free value now. Like the worst they can do is Ugin Lab, no imprint. Not when they added a type to yard.
No, they already bogged us.
4, 5, 6. Yeah, because next turn we have Karn to bridge.
And it stops Liquid Metal.
So it just grinds the entire game to a halt.
We do have to worry about their Ugin.
Yeah, that is the mirror breaker. I mean, they should just play the lab and not. Oh, I guess they played bog, right? So yeah. Interesting.
Right,
I don't know why they vote.
Ugin, Sire.
Yeah, there's no reason not to imprint here, really. And then cast Karn for bridge.
Cast Karn, down tick. I guess they can kill Karn, though.
Yeah, it's not the end of the world, though. Yeah, if only we were able to play the Talisman as well.
Yeah, it's pretty awkward.
Actually, no, we can.
We can't tap the Talisman, though.
So yeah, we're short 1 just for the Talisman. Oof. I mean, and that stops us from dying, and I think that's what matters in the end.
Yeah, I mean, it sucks that they're gonna get the coding Ugin's Lab now.
Yeah, yeah,
So
probably best that maybe we shouldn't have imprinted in that case.
Oh yeah, we didn't need to, did we?
No.
Damn.
I thought we had 1 more mana for that and the Talisman, so that was me miscounting.
They down tick.
I guess they do have Cityscape, don't they? Ooh.
Oh, they can just kill a bridge.
If they do have access to Cityscape, then yeah.
They do.
Yeah. It didn't matter.
No. All right, well, we played to our outs.
Yeah, I will say I do miss having access to Leveler, just not enough sideboard slots.
Yeah, it was like a mainstay.
It was, yeah, for a long while.
So we get to be on the play this time. Yeah, notably, we didn't see any consigns that game, and they ramped really well. This hand, you like this hand? Oh yeah, we have Sprawl.
Yeah, Misty Rainforest, Utopia Sprawl, and then at the very least a turn 2 Rumble, which can set up for a turn 3 kicked Myco Spawn.
And the Ghost Quarter can maybe cheese them out.
Yep, exactly. So I think we go, yeah, Forest and then blue. You want to make sure we have a blue source available.
Sounds good.
Even if we don't have the consign in hand, the fear of a consign definitely forces them to play around it.
Yes, definitely. Sorry.
Yeah, they go Utopia Sprawl here. The Ghost Quarter is actually decent.
I was going to say, I feel like they've had that every time. Oh, we draw the Myco Spawn too.
Okay. This is fun because, yeah, let's Rumble first.
Okay. Because we definitely want to set up for a kick Myco Spawn. Oh, another one?
Yeah, I think we go another one. So yeah, we go second Myco Spawn. I think we forgo the Ghost Quarter in that case. We just go Temple. So that way you can turn 3 kick to Myco Spawn, turn 4 kick to Myco Spawn, Ghost Quarter if we want.
Oh man, I really hope this pays off.
Yeah, short of them like just having a surprise Stone Rain, I think we're good.
Yeah, like even if they have Karn here.
And again, this is what I'm talking about. If they had Simic, I could at least then fear a consign if they chose blue. If they were just like splash red for, you know, return or Stone Rain, then I'd at least fear Stone Rain. But like just mono green feels so off.
Yeah, and they have the Ugin's Lab. Do they have the Karn?
Yeah, do they have the Karn? They have a Myco Spawn. I don't think they play Ghost Quarter. No, they don't.
All right, unfortunately, we can't get Ghost Quarter with Myco Spawn and stuff. Okay, so we're just going to kick and eat their Ugin's Lab?
Yeah, Ugin's Lab is right here because that also just eats the Emrakul.
And they don't know about the second Myco Spawn.
No. Yeah, right now they're going off the knowledge that this is the first one. Right now we have 1, 2, 3, 4.
We're still getting a Temple,
5,
yeah.
6. We could get Temple. We also could grab Lab. The reason why I kind of like Lab is because then we could tuck the Sire and potentially go towards Ugin if we draw into a land.
I mean, we're going to Myco Spawn no matter what. Why don't we just get Temple this time and next turn we can get...
Yeah, I think next time, I think that makes sense. So Temple this time, then Lab next. Because, yeah, right now we have access to 5 non-Eldrazi mana.
Hopefully they don't have... Okay, that's a good sign.
Yep, that's a very good sign because now they can't kick a Micro Spawn on their own.
They find another temple though, but we're gonna need that one too. So they could
It actually might be
find
better for us to get the forest, actually, because then they are out green sources. I guess no, we could actually wait. Yeah, we can just eat the temple, then go score to the forest.
yeah, they find World Breaker. Are we trading here?
Take a look at their yard. They currently have 4. I mean, there's no reason to not to, but there's no reason to do so either. I think we can just take the hit. I think if we just cast this Myco Spawn, we win.
So we're gonna eat this temple, and then we're just gonna ghost quarter this forest.
Yeah, because that sets them down to 3, I guess 4 with the Eldrazi spawn.
All right, they're gonna lose their mind here. Do you think they're just gonna like scoop to this? They scooped really well.
I think so.
Like quickly. Yeah. Oh man. Okay. I mean, I appreciate the opponent knowing like what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely ways for them to rally back. I've definitely come back from worse positions, but like it's definitely not a good position to be in when you're untapping with at most 4 Eldrazi mana.
All right, welcome to the final match, and we're on the play.
That's a snap mulligan right there, friends.
Yes, this is a no lander. Unfortunate.
Yeah, just a forest, I would have kept it all day. Yeah,
Hmm.
that's keepable. Probably pitched a gemstone.
On 6, I would agree. On 7, it'd be close. Like we'd have to
Yeah.
really get lucky with Rumble. So do we want to start with the surveil land here, or do we want to just high roll? I feel like we want to start with the surveil land.
Yeah, there's nothing to high roll into because even if we do, find another soul land, like we're not doing anything with it. So just setting up a surveil land, I think, is right here.
Yeah, like maybe if we had K command in hand or something.
Yep, if you had K command, yeah, I'd absolutely start with the temple. Ooh, Gala Shrine. Well,
Blink.
hopefully not Thoughtseize.
It is
Oh,
blink.
so it's Blink.
All
I
right.
actually haven't played against Blink since the BNR, so this is going to be interesting.
Having K return in hand is fantastic.
It is. And one thing to note for this matchup, you really want to prioritize your non-basics when fetching here because of White Orchid Phantom. But Bog, not a good card here. We can definitely pitch that.
Yeah, this would be good later, unfortunately.
Yeah, I guess
Yeah,
the Aether Valve version doesn't play Ketramos either, so Bog's a little bit better.
No blue. So we're just gonna rumble.
I'm not sure if we want to temple here because the question becomes they run main deck White Orchid Phantom.
They do.
So I think it might be good to Forest Rumble, and if we draw into a Myco Spawn, at least then we can cast it without a kick, mind you, but still.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Don't have to like rush into anything right now.
Yep, and there's a Myco Spawn.
Beautiful. And we put the World Breaker into the yard.
Yeah, next turn we can ramp with Myco Spawn, ideally into a Null Drifter, which is really hard for them to deal with short of a Solitude. This is okay. They'll take the Myco Spawn. We get to hold up the K return, but this also means they play nothing on 2. So I'm kind of okay with this. It doesn't feel great, but it means that they have a really slow hand. I was more worried about like a Felia on turn 2 end step where we'd have to hold up the K return.
They're thinking about it. I wonder if they're thinking about K return.
I feel like K return's usually the wrong choice here though, because like eventually we're going to be able to activate it from or trigger it from exile or from the graveyard. Whereas I think the Myco Spawn is the only castable right now, and it does ramp us into the Null Drifter. Yeah.
Yep.
They didn't find a land.
Oh, okay. They kept the vial. Oh man, dude. How did they not snap take Myco Spawn on one land?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, we just played Temple. They only know that we have 1 Temple. This puts us up to 5. So unless they do have a White Orchid Phantom, we're able to go into Null Drifter next turn.
And then at the very least, they're gonna pitch Solitude, and we've had drawn 2 cards and gained 4 life.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man.
Okay, they just find the Fog. Double black. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Like
But
without a Felly on board, I do not mind that whatsoever.
Yeah, but what sucks is they're gonna Philia here.
Oh, actually, they're probably going to Bowmaster the spawn.
I really don't want to tap out of K return. Or yeah.
Yeah, on one hand, they have Overlord of the Baelmerk if they do that. On the other hand, we would draw 2 of Null Drifter.
I feel like I want to play it safe. Like, there's no way they'd keep this without Philia.
Yeah, I might agree with you. And then next turn, unless they have a White Orchid Phantom, we can play the Null Drifter anyways.
And yeah, I was going to say, what's nice too is we can pass, and then if they do this, they might have like a flicker effect. We could just get the whole board with Null Drifter. Wow, it was
Interesting. They didn't target the spawn though. Okay.
They value the okay. Yeah, I really thought they had Philia. That was
no. I think you're right for playing around it.
Okay.
And if they had the White Orchid Phantom, they would have done that in our upkeep. So they don't have the White Orchid Phantom. They don't have the Felia. They could also get it now, of course.
Yeah, let's see. They find Aiden Interrupter.
Okay. That's fine. They didn't tick up. So they'll get the either that or the Witch Bless or Witch Enchanter for Witch Bless Meadow. No, they go for the Aven Interrupter. but they'd missed their land drop again. I'm surprised they didn't go for a Witch Enchanter.
Now I'm trying to think, like, now it's like we didn't do anything last turn.
Before we go to end step, there is a thought to K return to get rid of Bowmaster.
Before we Null Drifter?
Yeah. Because all they have in hand is the Aven Interrupter. Unless they drew into Felia, they don't have it.
So they know about K return. So do you think they're playing around that as well?
Possibility.
We're just slowly drowning. I feel like we need to act, maybe.
Yeah, I think we need to press forward. So I think we K return here.
I think it kind
The
of
real upsetting thing would be if they have a White Orchid Phantom, because then they would upkeep that and we just be in a rough position.
Chrysalis.
Okay. I mean, I think we just go Null Drifter here.
Does it matter Ghost Quarter versus Gemstones? I don't know. I feel like we can hide this.
Ghost Quarter has more utility, so we probably want to keep that in our back pocket. I guess, yeah, so Gemstone there, and then we can always Ghost Quarter if they try and Flicker Wisp, let's say the Bog, which is relevant sometimes.
That's true. See if they have another. Maybe we should have stacked. Nah, it wouldn't have mattered.
Yeah, you should have stacked the K return first. That way you would have been able to suss out the Bowmaster, but okay. I mean, not the worst thing, not great draws, but could be worse. Thankfully, I have the Chrysalis as backup.
Do they have the Philia?
Oh.
They are, yep.
So maybe you're right. They either drew into there or you were right in that they played around the K return.
Yeah, like there's no reason for them to run it out.
Yeah. But I feel like if that's the case, they should have probably pinged the spawn, right?
You'd think. I don't know. At least Philia dies. Oh, no, I thought they were blinking Null Drifter first.
Also, it will die, but then they'll probably grab it back with the Overlord trigger.
They could, yeah.
Unless they find, let's say, a Solitude. Oh, they have an EFM. Okay.
That's kind of a weird.
That one's a bit odd. I'm not feeling horrible because we draw into a 7-mana value spell. K return sweeps the board.
That is true. So we definitely want to attack, and they're probably going to sack the Vial.
Yeah, I mean, I think not attacking isn't an option because we're not blocking regardless. Felia either blinks the Null Drifter.
That's definitely going to blink their Overlord. They would never blink our thing, right?
Yeah, I guess actually, well, okay, yeah, that's a good point, especially because with Writhing Chrysalis, it does provide another blocker. Yeah. So I guess we just play the Writhing Chrysalis, but we should first probably Utopia Sprawl onto a forest, probably for red.
Yeah.
And then we'll play Chrysalis.
Yeah, do we want to just still hold Ghost Quarter just in case?
Actually, yeah, play the Ghost Quarter because with the Flicker Wisp in hand, while they could target the Overlord of Baelmerk, it's also possible they could target like their Bog.
Oh, true.
So having the Ghost Quarter up will be good.
So cast this. Notably, they have Vial on 3. Oh, they have Aven Interrupter.
Yeah, they still haven't played it though. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I mean, we do have the ability to World Break next turn, and
we are attacking, right?
Yeah, I think there's no reason not to here.
Yeah, like Aven Interrupter, they're not gonna like flash that into chump.
No. Yeah, they sacrifice the Vial. That's fine. They go down to 9, so like we're pressuring their board, which is relevant, or their life total, which is relevant. They Flicker Wisp, probably they bring in the Flicker Wisp, target the Overlord.
Their hand's been very good.
Yeah, the good news is we should be able to K return next turn with World Breaker, which means we should sweep the board in full, which kind of sets them back entirely. Really?
Because they get rid of the sprawl.
Yeah, that feels weird though in this situation. I mean, that's fine.
Instead of the Overlord?
Because now they have to target it with Felia, which means Felia will die to Writhing Chris. Oh, I guess they can EFM the Flicker Wisp. Yeah. EFM Flicker Wisp, target Overlord. There's that reflexive trigger. And this is where Consign comes in pretty well.
Yeah.
These reflexive triggers are where you can counter on end step and just sits in exile instead.
Oh, they flicker. Oh, I mean, that makes sense. So Felia can get in for free.
Yeah.
So maybe.
Yeah, and then they flicker the Overlord of Baelmerk instead. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, yeah. Felia, flicker, Overlord. Overlord will trigger. Yeah, the worst case scenario here is a Bog if they exile the Yard, because we want to be able to cast World Breaker to trigger the Kozilek's return.
Yeah, we're gonna end step, get World Breaker back, right?
Yeah.
I don't think that's even on their radar. I'm trying to think. Should we block and sack to get the World Breaker back?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You could sacrifice the gemstone. I mean, I think there's no reason not to block here, as we're going to see board anyways.
I think I already skipped through the phase.
All good.
Damn. Yeah, I was gonna say we could just block, not take 5. So what sucks is that they still have what's it called in the chamber, Aven Interrupter.
Yeah. If they Flicker Wisp the Bog, we'll have to Ghost Quarter it. Okay, that's fine. That's not the end of the world. Solitudes galore.
Yeah, what they even grab?
I grabbed an Orcish Bowmaster on the first one. I'm not sure about these one next two though. Oh, did they? So they must have returned another Flicker Wisp. Is that what they did?
So we do get to clear the board though.
Yes, ideally, because if they do have a Flicker Wisp, they can Flicker Wisp. No, so we don't want to type the Ghost Quarter, and here's why. If they have a Flicker Wisp, they can instead flicker the Bog and then exile Yard. So then we return World Breaker.
We just sack in the
and
Gemstone
then-
Caverns.
Yeah, the Gemstone. So now they try and flicker, but they don't. Okay.
And I don't think they can interrupter the K return from the graveyard.
They cannot, no.
Man, they just have so much. I wish we had Bog.
I think we just play the Forest and then World Break.
Do we want to attack first because it's going to annihilate everything?
See, the only issue that I have with that is I don't know if they have a Flicker Wisp in hand. And the reason why that's relevant is that they Flicker Wisp the Temple. That leaves us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, no, that's still fine. So yes, we can attack in with the Null Drifter then.
Should we attack with everything? Oh, I guess they can just...
Yeah, there's no reason. They would just block the Writhing Crest. If they don't see the line, then we'll be in a good spot. If they like sack a land, for example.
They do sack a land.
So they don't see the line, thankfully. They block. They block. Yep, that's perfectly fine.
And they don't care because they can just get it back with...
Yeah, in their mind, absolutely. Now we can World Breaker and exile the Aether Vial.
And Vial is better than a land?
I think in this case, yeah, because they're kind of doubling their mana, right?
True. Do we want to stack?
So we want to go make sure return first, World Breaker second. That way World Breaker resolves first. That way if they use the Aether Vial, then they'll sweep whatever they bring in.
Okay. So yeah, target Aether Vial.
This way if they tap it, then return will catch up. The worst case scenario would be if they have a Bog. They don't, it's a Recruiter. So that's fine. We get a free card out of it, basically.
Cool. They find Emperor of Bones.
Interesting. Let me get the sweep.
Yeah, I mean, that's good for them because then they can just literally get whatever they want back.
Yeah, I mean, they still need another land, but I mean, it'll take probably like a turn or two to really capitalize off of that. Actually, hold on.
I was going to say, let's
take a look at the basics.
Oh, yeah. We both realized. 1 plains.
How many basics do they run? That's a question, right?
Yeah, let's look. 2 plains, 1 swamp usually, I'd say. That checks out.
I mean, we could do it on upkeep or after draw in case they already have it in hand. It would be a fail to find. I mean, actually hitting the Witch Blessed might be worth it because they can always flicker that, theoretically speaking.
So that's a reason to maybe hold it because we know that they have basics.
Well, they could be in hand, and so it's a bit of a gamble, of course. Right now we have access to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 mana. We can cast pretty much everything in our deck, so I think Ghost Quartering here is not a bad idea. Okay. So I think after they draw, yeah, because that way they could always draw into the basic.
Yeah.
Then Ghost Quarter the Witch Blessed.
Yeah, because they haven't been making their land drops.
I mean, that means they don't play the Emperor Bones, potentially, if they don't have another land, or if they fail to find.
Wait.
They chose to use the ability.
Oh.
I guess they can play the Emperor now, but they can't at least adapt it on the same turn.
Man, we need to draw like K command, or we just have like a million good draws here. Ooh,
yeah.
Okay. Well, that gains us some life, but gets rid of the recursion.
Yeah.
If we can draw K return, that'd be good.
K return, K command, Emrakul, Ugin. We have a ton of good hits here. Yeah. Arn even would be fine.
Literally anything. Anything that's not a land.
Yep, exactly. They'll grab the Null Drifter, which is right. That's what I was most afraid of.
All right.
Yeah. Yep.
Fantastic. All right. So we're just going to Ugin and get rid of their Emperor. And then we're going to uptick.
Yes. Even though it will trigger the Bowmaster, I think that's still fine because we'll gain 3, we'll lose 1, and I think that's okay.
Yeah, I think that's fine because they can attack Ugin down a little bit, but it's okay.
Yeah, if they're attacking Ugin, they're not hitting us.
Yeah.
And then next turn we get to exile 2 and land a Sire. Yeah, this looks like a win here.
I cannot believe we turned this curve. 2 at Ugin, 1 at me. I don't understand that.
Yeah, that one's strange.
You think they're gonna scoop the Sire?
Oh, 1000%. Well, I think they're gonna scoop the Emrakul.
Oh no. Okay. I guess what's this cost? 9. We can always down tick here too, but 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
I mean, Emrakul wins unless they have a Solitude, right?
And if they do, they can't cast it. So let's cast Emrakul, get rid of the Bowmasters, and then we can draw a card.
Then
also.
We can draw, yeah.
Damn, these were like exactly what we asked for. Cast Emrakul, get rid of Orchestra. There we go. Oh man, dude, their board was insane. K return.
Yeah, and with that K return, it definitely helped out a lot. I think they did make a few misplays that definitely were in our favor, but let's take a look at Blink here. So we want to bring in Consign to Memory, Dismember, and K return. Basically, kind of the energy package plus.
Consign.
Yep. Yeah. Exactly.
So
And then we can.
I feel like Karn is like, I don't know, Karn could be amazing, or they're a mid-range deck, so Karn can kind of get there.
Yeah, it's a bit awkward at times. I think cutting 2 Karn is correct here. And then probably cutting an Emrakul and
Because they can blink
boy.
whatever we get with Karn, like with Philia too. So
Yeah, exactly, like bridge, etc. And then we can probably cut the let's see. Do I recommend the Ghost Quarter on the draw? Blink. Yeah. I mean Ghost Quarter can be good, but it also can kind of be just another random card.
yeah, I'm down to cut it.
Yeah, they aren't on Ketro, which makes me feel like we could keep Bog, but also Bog's kind of in that strange situation where, like, if they already have milled the cards, they've already at least got an A trigger with Overlord, but then if they have, like, their entire graveyard, or their entire deck in their grave, then Bog can be amazing. So we could just cut, let's say, I would say, I don't know, maybe a Sire 7 Best, or World Breaker, and, no, well, we wouldn't be able to cut both.
I feel like if you land a Sire, that's just like they can't get through that. They have to blink it and take damage, and it's just like terrible for them.
Yeah, it's probably cut the World Breaker. And then if we don't cut the Bog, we'd cut a Writhing Chrysalis.
Yeah, I'm down for that. We'll try that on the draw.
Yeah, for the Ketra version, I always cut Bog because Bog just contributes to Ketra's numbers.
Mm-hmm.
This one's interesting.
I weirdly like this. I mean, obviously just because of K return, but like we just ramp until we just find the payoff.
Yeah, exactly. So we go Windswept Teeth, then fetch for Surveil Land, ideally find a 7-mana value spell, lab, hold up K return.
Mm-hmm.
If we don't find one off the draw.
Okay, well that changes things up.
Yep, so now we can go Forest for red instead, and that is then protected since the White Orchid Phantom can't hit the Forest, which is nice.
Pretty good.
And that means we can play our Soul Lands a bit slow as well. I mean, you probably want to hold up the K returns since they're representing Felia right now. So probably just Cavern and then just hold.
And we draw another one, which is good. Yeah, next turn we can play out. Oh, okay. No turn 2 play, like that.
Either playing around the K return or they don't have a
tap land, Overlord.
Belmerk. Okay.
They take
Solitude. Oh, that's Felia. So they must have a Felia in hand, yeah.
Yeah, they've been really like cautious with Philia. I mean, they could just play it this turn also. It's not like the biggest deal.
I go Wooded Foothills here and then go and fetch for a non-basic shock land, play Talisman, and just hold up the K return.
Yeah, I like that.
We're playing very defensively, though. Then again, we don't exactly have much in the way of choices.
Yeah.
I want to play the Talisman of Curiosity to represent Consign.
Red,
because we're on red right now.
I mean, that could be on their radar, but well, I guess we'll see.
I feel like most Blink players probably don't take Consign into consideration in this matchup.
Bowmasters.
Okay, that's fine.
They're just holding on the cards close to their chest with Philia. They tick up. Okay, 4 mana. We know they have Hardcast Solitude next turn.
Yep.
We're
so
not doing
Philia's no longer into Vile, but they could have Flicker Wisp or even Interrupter. I mean, it might not be a bad idea to just get K return into Yard. Recruiter Regard, that's fine.
I kind of want to end step. Like, we're at 13.
That's what I'm thinking, end step.
Oh, they have the Flicker Wisp.
So they can Flicker. I think that's even more of a reason to K return so we can set up for the sweep, potentially.
Do we not want to wait? Well, why don't we wait? I'd say we wait until, because they're going to end step this.
True. Yeah, it just means that we don't have the ability to play anything and we have access to 7 mana next turn if we draw into, let's say, a World Breaker, for example. But then again, I guess they'll just Flicker with the Overlord of Belmerk. Yeah, okay, yeah. I think holding up the K return is correct. You're right. Oh, interesting. They're going to do it onto one of our lands. So that must mean they have an EFM. Interesting.
So we'll just float the mana.
Yeah, float the mana. And then I think we might just tap the Talisman for the K return, right? Because they're going to have the EFM regardless. Oh no, I guess that they're going to EFM on end step.
Yeah, I was going to say, do we just not want to? We don't have to use this mana. We can just.
No, yeah. I think we just hold the K return for the EFM on end step then.
Yep, 100%.
Because that's what they represent. So play temp, and then yeah, we guess just hold then.
Yeah, because I don't want to play the temple and then tap out though. That's the awkward thing.
We can't play the Talisman because that would leave them an opening if they are fearing the K return.
Exactly.
So that'd be my only concern playing the Talisman. So I think we'll just pass.
Yep.
And see if they go for.
Well, they let the land come back. Okay.
mean, the good news is we can always try and K command. This is so awkward because now we don't want to take this much in the way of
3,
beats.
4, 5, 6.
And I think we cast the K return, right? I think like if we do nothing, then our life total is at jeopardy.
Yeah.
Pretty awkward. We had like instead of the temple, we had a lab.
Wow.
Really? Okay. I mean, that's we can tap the temple, I suppose. Weird.
Yeah, they have nothing? They have Solitude in hand. We know that.
Grab a forest. That's why we're not grabbing basics unless it's under Utopia Sprawl.
We're not going to waste K command here for 1.
No, no reason to.
Yeah, that's like their hand must be garbage. We're like playing around like they have the nuts, and I guess they just
Got none of them.
okay. Well,
And I think we just rumble here to try and find, let's say, 7 mana value spell to put the Ugin slab, put under the Ugin slab potentially.
yeah. I just as long as they don't blink this Myco spawn,
Microphone. Yeah.
it's ramp.
Yep. It is ramp. So we can just play the Ugin slab and then ramp.
Yeah, just play that and then 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, we could do that. The alternative is that we just hold up the K return again and just play the Talisman of Impulse, which might also be a play.
So I feel like they haven't like done anything with this, and we know that this is taking down. We know they have Solitude and 2 mystery cards.
The only question is if they do have like a Felia though, right?
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, I'm fine with that.
And then at least this gives us 4 mana, so we can always also cast the K command if needed, rather than the Kozilek's return. And next turn we can kick the Myco spawn.
Oh,
There's Felia.
beautiful.
So now we can K return.
Damn, good call.
Perfect. Yeah, they've been playing so weird. I was like, there's no way that they don't have this Felia just sitting there. So they just have Solitude. Solitude and a random card.
This is what I'm afraid of, but we don't have anything to get rid of that yet.
I mean, we should be able to ramp into K command X5.
Yeah, I guess next
So I think
turn.
yeah. So I think we just Utopia Sprawl, mana neutral, or
And then just
red.
kick Myco spawn.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because we have 2 basic greens, so we don't really need to go too much deeper on green. And this forces them to play this, tap the land for Solitude, and we can probably go after. Actually, hold up. We can go after the plains, and that forces them to grab a basic, right, or basic land type, because the Verge will then be put offline.
Activate.
Only if you control plains or swamp for another plane.
Oh,
So
they're just gonna
black.
fetch here though. It's not gonna matter.
Yeah, I guess in that case we could go for the Witch Bless, and that at least takes a creature off board theoretically.
Yeah, because they're gonna have. They would only have a single black, but they also have Vile too.
Yeah, I guess maybe double. I guess going for the black is right because then they don't have double black to hard cast the Overlord.
Yeah, I like that.
And we can just go Temple and hold up K command X1.
So I guess as long as they don't draw something to get this, and then we'll get Temple, right? And they'll Solitude.
Most likely. I'd be surprised if they didn't.
Yeah, 100%.
All right, I mean, they only have 1 card in hand. We can exile the Overlord to Bailmerk next turn. If we draw into a 7 mana value spell, we can sweep. I mean, I think we're in a pretty good position, all things considered. I think the thing that would probably, only thing that would suck would be an Aven Interrupter. Okay,
but
that's fine.
If anything, this Kozilek's command is going to trigger Kozilek's return.
Remember, Kozilek's return is Eldrazi creature spell.
Creature. Yes, you said that. Damn. Like, as soon as I said that, I was like, wait, that's too good to be true.
Yep. If it did, oh my god, that'd be amazing.
Just like any colorless spell. Oh,
oof.
Frick.
So there's a thought. So we have access to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We could command X equals 7, holding up a green source, and just go for the sweep. The only thing that they could theoretically interact with us right now is an Aven Interrupter. That's the only thing. I think they could have Aven Interrupted the Kozilek's return, so I don't think so. I think so just holding up a green source should be good here. I think we should, keywords, hit a 7 mana value spell. If we don't, then, well...
yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, so we can bottom all the lands. Utopia Sprawl. So Stone Mega Spawn can go on top, then Null Drifter, and then we can play the World Breaker.
And then just hit their...
hit the Vial.
Yeah.
You want to make sure you go World Breaker last, so you go return, World Breaker. That way, just if they activate the Vial, it'll sweep it.
Yes. What is in their hand?
That's the question. So a land tapped. White or... yeah, sure.
Oh, okay.
That is A-okay in my book. So I will say probably shouldn't have said yes there because it did shuffle our top 2.
Oh, no, my bad. Okay, well...
But doesn't matter too much because now we can just draw after we attack.
Yeah, and I think we just draw from max here.
Yep. Well, we probably want to hold up a green source.
Still? Okay.
Yeah, because that would be drawn to a World Break or something Michael Spawn.
Gotta hurry up.
Yep, I was about to say. And again, all lands to the bottom, and I think we just go Sire 7 Deaths and just win.
Yeah.
And then Mega Spawn can go top, and
Top,
then
top.
bottom. And that's, yeah. So the reason why it doesn't matter if the second one is top is because
Oh yeah, the search.
it will just shuffle itself, and then we can sweep forward if we really want. No reason not to at this point. Yeah, phone scoops it up. Good stuff.
All right, so that was Eldrazi Ramp in Modern. What did we think about that league? What are your thoughts?
I mean, I think overall we played optimally. The deck felt good. Our top decks felt strong. Ugin felt fantastic whenever we cast it. I mean, Malevolent Rumble, even though I'm sitting here going, I'm going to test the league with Fnatic Aronis, we just saw how good Rumble is every single time we cast it, it felt, by, milling over K return, ramping us one, feeding Emrakul. Like, Rumble just felt so good time and time again. So it is hard for me to even think about removing it from the deck.
It was really good this league. Of course, it's only one league, so obviously it's not gospel, but I mean, it did perform really well. Again, you could run Fnatic and it could just be the nuts and an easy swap, but that league, Rumble performed well. Our deck is meant to top deck well. We built the deck to have so many good payoffs, so it's not surprising that we ended up hitting pretty well overall, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. That's where, like, whenever I have a hand that doesn't have a payoff, I'm like, that's fine. We're bound to draw into one eventually. And if I don't, then, well, it is what it is. I drew nothing but lands anyways. The deck performed really well. I feel like we only made, like, one major misplay that entire league against Eldrazi Ramp on that game 1, where we should have gone through the line of, like, K return, evoke Null Drifter, minus Karn for Tormod's Crypt. I think that's the only time where I can say we had a glaring misplay. But the deck was firing on all cylinders. So in Mega Spawn showing once again why it's one of the most hated cards in the deck, kicking opponents' lands. Kozilek's Command, as you saw in that last game, just able to draw, dig 6, 7, 8 deep, setting up the remainder of your turns basically into just nothing but gas. Karn, the Great Creator, came in clutch a few times in Snaring Bridge, as well as Local Metal Coding, closing out games.
I agree. And I feel like whenever I do well in leagues too, I mean, obviously it comes down to mulliganing, and I don't think we mulligan that often either. We kept a lot of 7 hands.
You can see kind of through this league, my mulligan philosophy of like, oh, it has ramp. It like, here are the number of things I could hit off top. I'll kind of rattle them off of like, okay, we have 4 K returns. We have 8 or 7 soul lands that we could hit. And like anytime it's like over 8 hits, I'm usually pretty like comfortable taking the hand. And like sometimes, yeah, I'll lose to like a 1 lander because I got unlucky. But like if I'm gonna whiff on a 33% chance per draw across 2 draws, then like, sometimes you just lose the variance. Magic is a card game where luck is integral to the game. Otherwise, I mean, I can't advocate this list enough. I think Karn is very well positioned in the current meta with like, I think it's 15 growing on to like 17% of the meta playing artifact-centric decks between Affinity, Brood Scale, Belcher, Kethis combo, Thopter combo, etc. And even in the matches where Karn necessarily isn't great, we saw Murktide really early on, or if you can just resolve that Karn, grab a bridge, like it still has applications outside of those matchups and can just be very impactful.
Can you remind everyone where they can find you, social media, and all that information?
Yeah, absolutely. You can find me over on YouTube, Twitter, Blue Sky, and hopefully sooner or later this year, Twitch as well. My username on all of those is Giltspire, so very easy to find me. That is Giltspire. I know some people read it as Glitspire, close but no cigar. So just search me up there. You can find my YouTube from there, my Twitter from there, also my Patreon, where you can also find my deck guide, though I do release a free version of that every single set release. So that way you can get the latest updates to my sideboard guide, to the deck guide, including breakdowns of new cards like Ugin, as well as new experimental cards like Fnatic of Aronis.
And all the information, like I said, will be in the section down below, so you can find all those links there. Thank you again for coming on, hanging out. This was an amazing league, and I think we crushed it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you much for having me. It was a ton of fun.